What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 2WF Chapter 41 Follow the idea of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Jiraiya is the only one among the three who has a deep mentorship with him. But it was also the one who showed the lowest desire for Hokage's position among the three. According to his understanding of Jiraiya, even if he really wants him to be a Hokage one day in the future, he doesn't want it. Namikaze Minato is the opposite in this regard. On the first day of school, his dream statement was to become the greatest ninja in Konoha history. If you let Namikaze Minato become Jiraiya's disciple, then he will become his own disciple. It would be more perfect to tie the two masters and apprentices together with the new Nine Tails Jinchuriki to their own camp completely. However, the surveillance of Xuan Che still cannot be stopped. I let someone else take your place. During this time, you can follow Jiraiya to practice. Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled. Namikaze Minato opened her mouth, as if he was hesitant to speak. But in the end it didn't say anything. He felt that sending someone to monitor Konoha's hero was a bit inappropriate. But with his own status, I really dare not challenge Sarutobi Hiruzen. Can only retreat. A few days later, the 7th training ground on the outskirts of Konoha. Ninfa summoning technique. In Jiraiya's gaze, Namikaze Minato bit his thumb and pressed it to the ground. After summoning the Toad Bunta who had previously fought with Jiraiya in the Kingdom of Wind, he quickly sealed the seal with Toad Bunta. Fire-style Great Flame Bomb. The great fireball roaring out of the throat merged with the toad oil spit out by Wen Tai. Explosively powerful fire style that surpasses a level. It is the combination ninjutsu that Jiraiya is good at, the toad oil firebomb. The talent of this kid is more exaggerated than I thought. Advertisement standing on the ground, Jiraiya witnessed this scene with his own eyes, and his heart was more than just emotion, it could be described as shock. The first time you use the summoning technique, you can summon the Toadman, let alone say it. The ninjutsu I taught him can be learned immediately after reading it. The shock that Namikaze Minato brought to Jiraiya was even stronger than the past Nagato by 3 points. After all, Nagato has the plug-in Rinnegan, but Namikaze Minato is a complete civilian. Jiraiya, the talent of your new apprentice is not on the same level as you. Even Toad Bunta was shocked by Namikaze Minato's talent and couldn't help but sigh. Long words. Although it is a good thing for a disciple to be good, Jiraiya can't help but feel unhappy when others say that. Namikaze Minato jumped from behind Toad Bunta and said to Jiraiya, "Teacher, I'm actually thinking of a ninjutsu recently, but I haven't successfully completed it. Can you give me some suggestions?" "Oh, what kind of ninjutsu?" Jiraiya couldn't help but curiously said. Namikaze Minato spread out his right hand, and whirlwinds of chakra began to hover in his palm. And over time, it slowly formed a spherical outline. However, just when a complete sphere is about to be formed, the chakra sphere was like a balloon punctured by a needle, bursting into a hurricane and rushing around. After another failure, Namikaze Minato smiled bitterly. "This is a technique I created by referring to the tailed beast bomb before Uzumaki Mito's life, but I haven't been able to succeed." Jiraiya almost went out of his eyes, looking at Namikaze Minato incredibly. "Minato, you, really a genius." If he hadn't met Rinnegan of Nagato, he would be almost 100% sure that Minato was the son of prophecy, as Great Toad Sage called. Wow, at this moment, a few miserable screams came into the ears of Namikaze Minato and Jiraiya. "What happened?" Jiraiya looked surprised. "Mr. Jiraiya, let's go and see." Namikaze Minato ran in the direction of the scream first. Advertisement, Jiraiya followed closely behind. Toad Wen was too uninterested, turned into smoke and returned to the summoning world. The master and apprentice galloped between the woods. And the more they ran forward, the more they found a problem. This direction seems to be. When you arrive at your destination, you see the scene in front of your eyes. The familiar farmland and huts. Sure enough, it was Xuan Che's residence. However, crossing the farmland and seeing the influence next to the field, they were completely shocked and dumbfounded. A group of ninja dogs with ferocious looks, squatting or lying on the edge of the farmland, was gnawing on pieces of bloody flesh. Kaka, one of the ninja dogs resembling Erha, chewed the bones and made a crisp noise. Immediately, spit out. Dang, something fell out of it. Jiraiya and Namikaze Minato took a closer look, that is, Konoha Shinobi's forehead protector, and beside the other ninja dogs, there are still human fingers or bloody skulls. "Huh? Have you finished lunch?" At this moment, Xuan Che, who was in a white shirt and black trousers for home furnishings, wore a straw hat, walked out of the wooden house with a hoe, and said in a daily tone, "Dare to be lazy and take all of you to make dog meat soup." Wang Wu, in the last second, the two Harbin dogs who were still savagely gnawing on the ground meat were called by Xuan Che, and the style of painting returned to amusement in an instant. One by one, they took the initiative to put on iron plows that should be used by cattle and started plowing the land. Chapter 42 Xuan Che carried the hoe and walked to the forehead protector that was spat out by the ninja dog. After squinting for half a second, Yu Guang suddenly knocked down with the hoe in his hand. It broke to pieces in an instant. "Xuan Che, you. There are not many things in this world that can shock Jiraiya so much." However, in just 1 month's time, Xuan Che gave him more shock than in the first half of his life. This. Xuan Che used a hoe to lift up a wisp of blood on the side of the farmland. The dogs found a few spies just now, and they just used it as lunch for them. Just like the insects of the Aburame family, the birds of the Uchiha family. The universal ninja from the Hitaki family is a dog. However, Xuan Che does not need summoning beasts at all to fight. However, among the few ninjutsu he was proficient in, summoning technique was indeed one of the most commonly used. It's not for investigation or battle, it's purely used as a cow. Is that the emblem of the Moonlight family? Seeing the mark on the fragments of clothes on the hoe, Jiraiya swallowed again, stunned and said. It's impossible for you not to recognize it, how could the Moonlight family be a spy? Moonlight's family, using secret techniques to escape from Konoha. Very good at hiding investigative work, mainly active in Anbu and the Ministry of Intelligence. These two departments are the main departments led by Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo. Therefore, the Moonlight family can also be said to be one of the Konoha shinobi family trusted by Sarutobi Hiruzen. If you are not a spy, how can you secretly monitor me, the hero who brought Konoha victory? Xuan Che smiled calmly, and the burning Amaterasu instantly burned it to death. Advertisement, by the way, I felt the breath of surveillance a week ago. Such a ghost is definitely a spy. It can be sent by Lord Hokage, right? Xuan Che said cheerfully. Namikaze Minato next to Jiraiya is swaying like a waterfall. A week ago? Isn't it the 2 days that I watched Xuan Che? He turned his head to look at the ninja dogs who were plowing the land with iron plows on their backs, and the fluff on the sides was still dyed with scarlet blood. Namikaze Minato only felt cold on his back. If I continue the surveillance mission, I am afraid that it is not myself who is lying in the belly of the ninja dog. A new disciple. Xuan Che noticed Namikaze Minato who was next to Jiraiya, and roughly guessed the new relationship between the two. After taking a few deep breaths in succession, Jiraiya barely calmed down, and said in a deep voice. Well, I took the initiative to ask Father Sarutobi. Jiraiya, you are Master Hokage's apprentice, then Minato is the apprentice. Hey, this relationship is also interesting. Xuan Che chuckled and said no more, walked into the farmland and began to loosen the soil to sow. In fact, most of the time, Xuan Che still focuses on the study of kendo. For him, farming is more of a kind of relaxation after training. Jiraiya and Namikaze Minato were silent on the way back to the village. When stepping into the village gate, a woman holding a newly born baby suddenly passed by the two of them and said hello. Ah, hello, Lord Jiraiya. Jiraiya was taken aback. You are. When seeing the Moonlight family crest on the lady's shirt, Jiraiya's expression flashed strangely. Advertisement, little girl, Moonlight Ninja, this is the child of Yueying and I, Moonlight Hayate. The lady bowed slightly. Moon Shadow, Tasuki Kazuki Shadow? I remember being the chief of the Moonlight clan, right? Jiraiya frowned for a while and asked. Yes, my husband works under Lord Hokage. With that, Mrs. Moonlight frowned slightly and said in confusion. But I don't know what's going on, he has been back late in the last few days. Speaking of the back, Moonlight Shinobu bowed to Jiraiya again and apologized. I'm very sorry, but I complained in front of one of Sanin's adults. I will leave first and prepare dinner for Moon Shadow. Jiraiya. Namikaze Minato. Watching the back of Moonlight Ninja holding his son Moonlight Hayate away, the two masters and disciples fell silent again. After a long time, Namikaze Minato said with a trembling tone. Since, Mr. Jiraiya, the patriarch of the Moonlight clan, it wouldn't be just now. Stop talking, Minato. Jiraiya sternly interrupted the apprentice's guess, his face turned greener than ever. You go back and rest first, I have something wrong. Namikaze Minato was stunned and could only watch Jiraiya walk away quickly. And what's more in my heart is sympathy for the mother and son. His husband will never go home for dinner, it would be better to say that he has become dinner himself. But if Xuan Che is here until the baby is called, Moonlight Storm, he might breathe a sigh of relief. Good guy, almost let a high-level dragon set in the original work fail to be born again. Chapter 43 today, Sarutobi Hiruzen is sitting in Hokage's office as always. One hand is twisting the cigarette stick, and the other hand is watching the intelligence documents sent from the border area. After Konoha and San Shinobi officially signed a truce. It also completely announced the end of the Second Ninja World War. He was finally able to breathe a sigh of relief. The only regret is probably the accident that happened to the eldest son. But was that really an accident? Recently he has been in the office longer and longer. After all, recently, because of his eldest son's affairs, his wife Bawahu hasn't given him an old face. The second son, Asuma, doesn't know the inside story. But he has shown a disagreement with his father. The ministers and workers outside were noisy and went home. This is how Sarutobi Hiruzen feels now. Fortunately, the war is over, otherwise it would really make him sad. Strange. Why is Moon Shadow coming back so slowly? Sarutobi Hiruzen noticed the time on the clock on the wall and frowned secretly. After Namikaze Minato was accepted as a disciple by Jiraiya, and temporarily resigned from Anbu's position in the task of monitoring Hitaki Xuan Che, Namikaze Minato dispatched one of the current Anbu squad captains, the patriarch of the Moonlight family, Kazuki Shadow, to replace him. Possessed the secret technique to escape, and is extremely good at hiding and investigating tasks. In addition, when the Moonlight family took the position of Hokage and Sarutobi Hiruzen, they were supportive. This allows Sarutobi Hiruzen to always regard Yu Kazuki film and television as his confidant. Unfortunately, the fly in the ointment is that although the investigative ability is extremely good, But the strength is still slightly insufficient, unable to be promoted to the position of captain. But to be honest, if the strength is too strong, Sarutobi Hiruzen will not trust it yet. Fear that the other party will shake one's position. Hitaki Tsukumo is a good example. When Wu Delong opened a store, Yao Huang couldn't even come in. Advertisement. This is the case. Bang! Suddenly, the door of Hokage's office was pushed open, and it hit the wall behind with a loud noise. Even Sarutobi Hiruzen was taken aback. After seeing the visitor, his eyebrows, which had gradually turned white, raised. Jiraiya? Waiting for the Moon Kazuki shadow? Jiraiya asked without any waves on her face. For people like him with a daily hippie smile, showing this expression is equivalent to anger. Sarutobi Hiruzen's brows tightened involuntarily. How did Jiraiya know? But she hasn't waited for her to ask. Jiraiya suddenly stretched his hand behind his back, took out something and threw it at Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen instinctively reached out and took it. Look down. Bloody. The corner of Anbu vest suit? Jiraiya, this is. Sarutobi Hiruzen raised his head again, and looked at the only personal disciple who still had the friendship between master and apprentice. The scraps left over from Xuan Che's lunch, Jiraiya snorted. If only seeing the bloody scene at noon, Jiraiya would not completely lose his composure. So when he returned to Konoha with Namikaze Minato, he saw the widowed Moon Shinobu and the baby who had just been born and experienced the pain of losing his father, called Moonlight Storm. Jiraiya, a soft-hearted person, had a mentality called sane, in his heart, collapsed. The grievances between Xuan Che and Sarutobi, he is too lazy to care. But because of their grievances and harming the innocent, Jiraiya couldn't bear it. Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes suddenly tightened. From Jiraiya's simple sentence, he already guessed what happened. Advertisement. This guy is too arrogant. 10,000 years listened to Danzo in the corner who walked into it through the open door and snorted coldly. Even Anbu dared to kill Sarutobi. It seems it's time to issue an arrest warrant. His roots monitor the whole village of Konoha 24 hours a day. When I heard reports from his subordinates that Jiraiya headed to the administration building with an angry face. Danzo knew what happened with a high probability. I just heard about it when I arrived. Enough, can you stop hitting your own people? When Danzo said this, he naturally had his own confidence. He is not yet 50 years old and still barely maintains his cage-level strength. Upon hearing Danzo's indifferent order, Jiraiya could no longer conceal his inner anger and yelled. The external enemy is just about to move around and don't want to solve it, so are you busy calculating your own people? If it weren't for your spare time to send someone to monitor Xuan Che, could you make so many mobs? What do you mean? Jiraiya. Danzo looked back indifferently. You can't really notice it. Isn't Sarutobi Shinosuke related to Hitaki Xuan Che at all? Or, you are also involved? Danzo asked again. Hey, Danzo. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned and scolded. Danzo did say this sentence. Even I doubt it, right? Jiraiya laughed furiously, turned around and left. It's nothing, it's up to you. Indeed, for Xuan Che and Sarutobi Shinosuke, Jiraiya was on the ground and did not speak thoroughly. But what Jiraiya couldn't think of was, Danzo is still suspicious of himself. His Jiraiya has a good temper, but he is not a soft persimmon to be tortured. Chapter 44. Early the next morning, Sarutobi Hiruzen in Hokage's office looked at a letter placed on the desk and remained silent for a long time. This is what Jiraiya left behind. In the content of the letter, Jiraiya stated that he hoped to take Namikaze Minato to travel around the countries for spiritual practice. Already set off. In other words, Jiraiya gave him this teacher a chop and play. As for Jiraiya's mind, Sarutobi Hiruzen can still guess a little bit. But he didn't show much anger, because he didn't worry about Namikaze Minato being able to leave his camp. Dong dong, Sarutobi Hiruzen tapped his finger on the desk twice. In the next instant, an Anbu player knelt in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen on one knee. Master Hokage, how is Nine Tails Jinchuriki? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked. Yes, it is still under our Anbu surveillance. If there is a possibility of rampage, it will be stopped immediately. The Anbu team member lowered his head and responded. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded in satisfaction. Nine Tails Jinchuriki, Uzumaki Kushina. How could Sarutobi Hiruzen not know her relationship with Namikaze Minato? As long as Kushina is held in his hand, Namikaze Minato can only be firmly tied to his chariot. If you want to go out for practice, just go. Cultivate Namikaze Minato, a civilian genius, and it's better to cultivate him better than Hitaki Xuan Che. By the way, Hikari seems to be very accomplished in the direction of the body flicker technique. Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly thought of something and asked the Anbu player in front of him. Yes. Go and fetch the Book of the Seal, and then help me give something to Uzumaki Kushina. Sarutobi Hiruzen said. Namikaze Minato is very affectionate, so let's sell him alone first. Advertisement. On the outskirts of Konoha, next to Xuan Che's farm hut. Go to practice. Xuan Che, who was surrounded by ninja dogs, heard Jiraiya's words and couldn't help thinking about his future journey with Naruto. Unexpectedly, his father experienced it in advance. It is rare for Tsunade at the back to not go to the casino, but to stand behind Xuan Che, rubbing his eyes from time to time, as if he was not awake. Well, in fact, she didn't sleep much. Less than 2 hours after sleeping, Jiraiya and Namikaze Minato came to the door. Hitaki Xuan Che, the B******************, even broke up and dared to do that kind of thing with himself. He implicitly hinted that he wanted to reconcile. As a result, the pig's hoof began to pretend to be confused again. I think of the little girl in Zhenhong's house every time she looks at Xuan Che's worshipful eyes. Tsunade looked at Xuan Che again and his eyes were full of contempt. This guy can't be so pervert, right? Master Tsunade, during the time I went out to practice with Jiraiya, can you please take care of Kushina? Namikaze Minato suddenly came to Tsunade and bowed his head in salute. Kushina's identity in Konoha is extremely special. Although the identity of Nine-Tails Jinchuriki has not been revealed, the big clan ninjas in the village can vaguely guess something. Keep their children as far away from her as possible. When I walked like this, Kushina was afraid that there would be no one to take care of in Konoha. And Namikaze Minato thought about it, and the only thing that could be entrusted was Tsunade. After all, Senju and Uzumaki are distant relatives, and there has been a tradition of marriage since ancient times. Although the tradition of Uzumaki and Senju was destroyed before and after the ruins of history. Kushina. She worked hard too. When it comes to this little girl, Tsunade is also a little bit embarrassed. The two got to know each other because of her grandmother Uzumaki Mito. The original relationship is also good, but since Grandma Mito passed away and Senju suffered a misfortune, Tsunade had no spare time to take care of Kushina. Anyway, as Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, as long as the executives have no brains. Advertisement I would never dare to do anything to her. Minato. When the two sides were communicating, a red-haired, round-faced girl who was about 15 years old and about the same age as Namikaze Minato trot over. Tomato. With crimson hair and baby's fat face, Xuan Che's first impression of Kushina was this. The instinctive reaction was shouted out, Kushina, calm down. When Namikaze Minato heard Xuan Che yell these three words, his face turned pale on the spot, and he quickly stood between Kushina and Xuan Che. Xuan Che vaguely saw Kushina's red hair like flames, and it began to drift without wind. You know, these three characters are the stimulus of Kushina, which is comparable to the level of Akamichi Choji of the word, fat pig, in later generations. After being soothed by Namikaze Minato for a while, Kushina barely calmed down. This is Master Xuan Che and Master Tsunade. Both of them will take care of you while I am away. Come and say hello. Namikaze Minato smiled bitterly, Master Tsunade. When she saw Tsunade, Kushina was full of admiration, but when she changed to Xuan Che, she suppressed her anger and showed a smile that was uglier than crying. She smiled and said, Xuan, Master Xuan Che, is it the mother of Uzumaki Naruto? For this woman who played very few scenes in the original book, she is still a girl. Xuan Che looked up and down. Snapped. Suddenly, Xuan Che felt a slap in the back. Turning his head to look, Tsunade also had a non-smiling expression. Is it good looking? Misunderstanding. Xuan Che was speechless. You don't want to be jealous, can't you? I am just a little curious about Uzumaki Kushina. If you really want to talk about femininity, let alone Kushina and Tsunade, compared with Yurihon, I am afraid it is hard to beat, not to his appetite. Fortunately, Xuan Che's thoughts, Tsunade didn't know, otherwise it was more than just a slap. I was afraid it would be a strange blow. Chapter 45. By the way, Minato, Master Hokage asked me to give this to you. Kushina suddenly remembered something and gave a scroll to Namikaze Minato. Before Namikaze Minato left, she told her to go to the outskirts to visit Mr. Black Knife, Hitaki Xuan Che. That's why Kushina can find it here. Namikaze Minato took the reel and opened one end slightly. Jiraiya next to him moved in slightly. When he saw the first line of words, the boss stared suddenly and exclaimed. This is Master Second Hokage's Flying Thunder God. Hearing the three words Flying Thunder God, Tsunade, who had originally been indifferent, couldn't help but raise his eyebrows fiercely. This is the move developed by her second grandfather. It can also be said that they belong to the Senju clan. After confirming that Tsunade and Iwaki did not inherit the wood-style blood, the senior family members had intended to impart this magic trick to the two brothers and sisters. Unfortunately, however, Tsunade is not suitable and Iwaki is not qualified enough. Since Konoha was founded, no one has learned this trick except Senju Tobirama. You really have lost money, Lord Third Generation. Xuan Che showed a smile. He suddenly understood why Namikaze Minato was willing to be in power with Sarutobi Hiruzen in the later period, and he has not yet shown any dissatisfaction. This guy's soft personality is one reason, and another reason is that he was born as a commoner. He must have received a lot of kindness from Sarutobi Hiruzen when he was growing up. Flying Thunder God, although it is only evaluated as a B-level ninjutsu, it can exert its power as an S-level through the user's use. Tsunade's beautiful eyes were faintly, and he lifted his cheeks to look at Namikaze Minato, numb the scalp he was looking at and said. It was directly given to you, kid. After Senju Tobirama took over the position of Senju Hashirama, in order to continue to promote the civilianization of ninjas. As a result, the big ninja tribes contributed their own secret techniques one after another and placed them in the Book of Seals. In addition, according to the merit system, those who have made contributions to the village will be able to learn advanced ninjutsu. Advertisement mainly to give civilian ninjas a chance to get ahead. This is why Uchiha's Great Fireball feels like a city of Konoha shinobi. And for an advanced ninjutsu such as Flying Thunder God, at least an S-level mission must be completed to be eligible to learn. Sarutobi Hiruzen gave it directly to Namikaze Minato. The significance of this has to be fascinating. Hokage-sama actually entrusted such advanced ninjutsu to me. Namikaze Minato was naturally very excited when he was able to get Master Second Hokage's signature ninjutsu. After all, he was only a 14-year-old kid. I didn't expect so many. I was grateful. This proves that Sarutobi Hiruzen's purpose has been achieved. Jiraiya sighed beside him, not sure if it was good or bad. He took Namikaze Minato away from Konoha to practice, just to keep him away from the bottomless political struggle in the village. But Jiraiya is still too naive. As long as Namikaze Minato still targets Hokage, he will definitely be involved in disputes. Finally, after Kushina waved goodbye, the back of the master and apprentice became smaller and smaller. In the end, it completely disappeared from the field of vision. Hey, aren't you worried? The old man obviously wants to train that kid. Tsunade turned his eyes to Xuan Che and asked, Let's talk about it after 100 years of practice. Xuan Che smiled. For Xuan Che with the system, let alone Flying Thunder God, even if Namikaze Minato turns on the Nine Tails mode, he still has no fear at all. Also, you seem to have misunderstood something. Xuan Che picked up his saber, sat cross-legged on the ground, began to meditate, closed his eyes and meditated, opened his left eye and said to Tsunade. Although I killed Sarutobi Shinosuke, I have no interest in the power in Sarutobi Hiruzen's hands. As long as I don't bother me, I don't care about what they toss Konoha. Kushina, who had walked back to say goodbye to Namikaze Minato, happened to hear these words, and her small round face turned white in shock. Nani? What shocking secret did she just hear? Did you hear the hallucinations? Kushina, Gulu, swallowed her saliva, and kept comforting herself in her heart. Advertisement yes, auditory hallucinations are definitely auditory hallucinations. I didn't hear anything, I didn't hear it. When I heard the second half of Xuan Che's sentence, I don't care about what they toss Konoha. Tsunade's expression was a bit complicated for a while. She has no feelings for Sarutobi Hiruzen, but she still has deep feelings for Konoha himself. This is true even when the original is 50 years old. One of the reasons why I returned to the village to serve as 5th Hokage was to see Nawaki's shadow from Naruto. The second is her feelings for Konoha. Seeing Tsunade's sentimental look, Xuan Che had to interrupt his meditation, got up and took the other person into his arms, and said, What? I have nostalgia for Hokage's position. If you want, I can help you get it back. What a terrible smell of dog food, quickly withdraw. Kushina evacuated silently. But just sitting in Hokage's position is not enough. Since we have to do it, we must do it thoroughly and solve the unobtrusive one at a time. Xuan Che thought of another thing. If you really want to help Tsunade sit on the throne of Hokage, I don't want to appear in the 2 Hokage public palm leaves like the Namikaze Minato period in the original work. Or when making big decisions like Tsunade in the original book. Both Uchiha Ekaharu and Mitokado Homura are constantly annoying like flies. If you want to do it absolutely, want me. After squeezing the powder, Tsunade Zhu Chao lightly spit out 2 words. Really, it hinders myself from practicing. Xuan Che sighed inwardly and had to carry Tsunade into the cabin. The next content is about 15,000 words. Readers can make up their own brains. Chapter 46. After the Second Ninja War in the original book, Tsunade left Konoha 100%. And now, because of the storm set off by the butterfly Xuan Che, Nawaki is not dead, although the Senju clan will not be able to recover for decades. But at least it's not dead, plus the relationship with Xuan Che. As a result, Tsunade did not leave Konoha. In the original book, Kakashi, who graduated from the ninja school as the fastest in history, is still studying at the ninja school. The daily choking with Uchiha Obito is like a parallel world version of Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto. And Nohara Lin, a little girl who aims at medical ninjas. I really like to stick to Tsunade. Since the Second Ninja World War, it can be said that none of the female ninjas in Konoha village did not target Tsunade. And because Tsunade spends the night at Xuan Che most of the time. Therefore, although Xuan Che in this original work are not very eye-catching, they also set off a girl who changed the direction of the ninja world. There are a lot of intersections. Go and buy me a bottle of soju and chicken meatballs. It took a whole day to study the armed Tsunade that Xuan Che told himself. The first thing after finishing the practice is to call Yi Yuan Lin to run errands for herself. Yes, Master Tsunade. Yi Yuan Lin shallowly nodded with a smile, then turned to Xuan Che and asked. Does Master Xuan Che need anything? Buy 2 sets for me, I ran out of them yesterday. Xuan Che thought for a while and said, Set. Nohara Lin tilted her head, saying that 7-year-old Loli couldn't understand. Shut up, you be asterisk 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 d. Tsunade slammed a fist with shame and anger. After being avoided by Xuan Che's understatement, she blushed and shouted at Yi Yuanlin. What are you doing in a daze? Go. Oh, Yi Yuanlin nodded obediently, turned and ran towards the village. Are you using that girl as a servant? Xuan Che quickly changed the subject to prevent Tsunade from continuing to make trouble. Advertisement, hey, I also taught her a lot of medical ninjutsu, which is used for tuition. Tsunade curled his lips, replied without any shame, and lowered his fist. Xuan Che chuckled lightly and said no more. To be honest, compared to the 2 disciples in Tsunade's original work, Shizune has no sense of existence from beginning to end. Sakura who can punch Kagaya-ji so hard. Xuan Che felt that Lin Yeyuan's gentle character was more flattering. There is a little suspicion that when Sasuke Little Sakura did that job, it was Little Sakura who moved. In Konoha village, in front of an izakaya. I have bought the shochu and chicken meatballs that Mr. Tsunade asked for. Next is what Mrs. Xuan Che wants. Nohara Lin slowly walked out of the izakaya with a shopping bag containing shochu and chicken meatballs, muttering to herself. She still remembered Xuan Che's request just now. Idiot Kakashi. Let's have a fight. No, Obito. Today is the day I and Kakashi agreed to a duel. Just when Nohara Lin was wondering what Xuan Che was talking about, Cox. A loud noise caught her attention. Turn around and look at Kakashi, Obito, Might Guy. The combination of these three people can be said to be very famous in the school. I don't know why, these two cranes always like to haunt Kakashi, the chief student. Can you stop bothering me? You can't even practice clone technique at the tail of a crane. Kakashi first gave Obito a disgusting look, and then he cast an impatient look at Might Guy. And Guy, I don't remember when I made an appointment with you. Say who is the tail of the crane, yours, huh? When Obito was halfway through talking, he suddenly found the goddess who was looking towards him, and immediately turned into Tim Dog and rushed in front of Yi Yuan Lin, and said to Hirazi. Well, what a coincidence, Lin, what are you doing here? Rin Nohara smiled, helping Master Tsunade and Master Xuan Che buy things, but I don't know where to buy things that Master Xuan Che said. This kind of gentleness applies to both the chief student and the tail of the crane. Probably the greatest charm of Nohara Lin. It is said that her combination with Obito and Kakashi is like the seventh class of later generations. Indeed, young Kakashi and Obito are indeed very similar to Sasuke and Naruto. Advertisement, but Haruno Sakura and Lin Nohara are really nothing like. Ah, what do you buy? Leave it to me, as a qualified Tim Dog, never let go of any chance to please the goddess. That's it, I beg you, Master Xuan Che wants. If it were to be normal, Rin Nohara didn't want to trouble others, but because she didn't know what it was, she had to ask Obito. Hearing Rin Nohara's words, Obito scratched his head. Oh, he didn't know what it was, but then I saw the look of the goddess expecting. Obito's heart slammed. No, never be ashamed in front of the goddess. Give it to me, Obito yelled, turned around and ran into a nearby bookstore. May I ask if you have? What are you doing? At this time, Kakashi and Might Guy also walked up to ask. Ah, Kakashi, Guy. Nohara Lin Kaido. That's it, Master Xuan Che asked me to buy it. When Kakashi heard the word behind, his face instantly burned. Nohara Lin and Obito don't know, he is very clear about this Meng Sao. Kakashi, do you know? Seeing Kakashi's face change, Lin Nohara asked curiously. Kakashi couldn't hold back a word for a long time. What is Mensao? It's obviously showy but always likes to pretend to be cold and not to show off. Obito ********. At this moment, Shi Rihong's scream came. The Kakashi trio turned their heads and looked, only to see Yuhi Hong slap Obito's face with a slap. Pump it up into the air. Behind Shi Rihong, she followed Asuma number 2 as expected. Chapter 47. Tsunade, Master Xuan Che, Dong, I bought things back. After an hour, Nohara Lin slowly handed Xuan Che and Tsunade each request to them. Boiling steam has risen above his head, so Xuan Che thought she was possessed by Hyuga Hinata. You really bought him? Tsunade's eyes widened when he saw the small box of balloons Yi Yuan Lin handed Xuan Che. Yi Yuan Lin, who already knew what this thing was for, didn't say a word. She lowered her head and looked at her toes, and almost found a hole to get in. You are also a ghost. Let this kind of little girl buy this kind of thing. How can she see people in the future? Tsunade furiously hit Xuan Che's side with an elbow. No, this is not what I bought. Yi Yuan Lin raised her head and waved her hand. Kakashi and Obito bought it for me, Tsunade's eyes were bigger than before, and Xuan Che couldn't help but look sideways. Running errands to buy a set, how come these two goods are also involved? Rin Nohara blushed and quickly repeated to the two of what happened in Konoha an hour ago. At that time, Obito happened to meet the passing Yurihong, as well as another lingering dog, Asuma, who was equal to him. I asked Shi Rihong directly what set meant. As a result, Yurihong, who knew its meaning, immediately slapped Obito. Kakashi had no choice but to tell the truth. I also know that Lin is helping her uncle run errands. So Obito, who was slapped with gold stars, quickly bought the things and gave them to Rin Nohara. Ha, you guys are really wonderful. After listening to Yi Yuan Lin's retelling, Xuan Che couldn't help but laugh. But Kakashi and Obito seemed to be in their 30s, and they didn't even have a chance to use this stuff until they died? It's so pitiful. Tsunade almost laughed out loud for a while, but suddenly thought of something. Her pretty face turned black again, and said with a cold face. Hey, wait, let's put it this way. All the little ghosts know you were using something, right? Huh? Does that need to be said? Kaido taken for granted by Xuan Che? Advertisement, after all, Lin is helping you and me run errands. Then don't they all know that you used it with me? B******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* How will she see people in the future? Xuan Che was speechless. The boss still cares about this kind of thing. Even if you don't say it, those little ghosts will know how old they are when they are older, right? The blush on Yi Yuanlin's cheeks is still flushing. Because when the shop owner was there, he said, "Oh, Master Xuan Che wanted it, take it, the biggest number." Time passed in an orderly manner. The teachers of the next 12 Shaoqiang will still be studying at the ninja school, and there is no intention of anyone wanting to graduate early. Jiraiya took Namikaze Minato to practice outside. Orochimaru almost never saw him in public. He didn't know that he thought he had evaporated. Because of Xuan Che's haki guidance, Tsunade simply moved to Xuan Che's cabin. The attractiveness of the mansions in the Senju clan is not as attractive to her as the casinos. And between Xuan Che and Sarutobi Hiruzen, there seems to be a weird tacit understanding. There is no special action on either side. Since Yukazuki was used as lunch by Xuan Che's ninja dog, Namikaze Minato was taken out of the village by Jiraiya. Sarutobi Hiruzen did not have any special actions against Xuan Che. And Xuan Che's attitude is not far different, that is, don't bother me, I will take care of you too. But in fact, Xuan Che knew everything in his heart. With the death of Sarutobi Shinosuke, Sarutobi Hiruzen never moved the object of doubt from him. The reason why he didn't take any further action was because he really had no evidence, and his strength gradually entered a period of weakness as he got older. And Xuan Che himself is the same, he is currently doing nothing. But knowing that Tsunade still has nostalgia for the Hokage position that both of his grandfathers held, he decided to find an opportunity to help Tsunade win that position. It's just that Xuan Che hates protracted battles and tug-of-wars. Advertisement: if you want to fight, fight Annihilation and Blitzkrieg. The winner was decided in one go, looking for an opportunity to destroy them all. Unconsciously, time came to Konoha for 42 years. In the season of heavy snowfall, everyone in the family is full of lights. Everyone knows just by feeling this atmosphere, it's time for the Chinese New Year. For Xuan Che, the New Year event is nothing unusual. It's Tsunade, the prodigal girl, who has owed a lot of gambling debts at the casino during this time. A group of creditors who knew their relationship with her almost found themselves here with debts. But during this period, another very interesting thing happened. That is, Jiraiya and Namikaze Minato, the masters and apprentices who had gone out to practice for 3 years, finally returned. On the outskirts of Konoha village, frozen ice covered by heavy snow. A dazzling golden flash shuttled around Xuan Che's body. When Xuan Che drew his sword and cut it off, the flash of light flashed to the other side at a speed that the naked eye could not catch. It's the first time I saw someone can avoid the uncle's slash. Kakashi on the shore was shocked. Jiraiya under the tree smiled slightly. There was a burst of sound. Xuan Che lifted it smoothly and shot down the flying object. That is a special trigeminal kunai. The knocked out kunai turned around in midair. The golden shadow suddenly appeared in front of Xuan Che. A sharply rotating chakra sphere in the palm of the hand covers Xuan Che from the side. Rasengan. Namikaze Minato shouted. Chapter 48. The chakra sphere in Namikaze Minato's hand stopped abruptly when it was about to hit the bridge of Xuan Che's nose with less than 5 centimeters left. As expected of Master Xuan Che, compared to 3 years ago, Namikaze Minato, who has grown a lot in both height and temperament, let out a smile of admiration. Look down, Xuan Che's sword. I don't know when it has reached his abdomen, and he can penetrate his body at any time. The growth rate is really exaggerated. Even Tsunade has to admit that Namikaze Minato has grown rapidly. Ha ha ha. Compared with Minato, no one seems good enough. Jiraiya laughed with arms akimbo, as if it was not Namikaze Minato who had grown up like this, but himself. It seems that it won't take long to surpass you, Xuan Che. Jiraiya smiled triumphantly. I finally won the guy who had been doing Tsunade all day. Although he is not himself, his disciple's words are almost the same. Xuan Che just smiled when he heard this and did not answer. Master Jiraiya, Master Hokage invites you to go. At this time, an Anbu member suddenly appeared with body flicker technique and said to Jiraiya. I know, go right away. The triumphant smile on Jiraiya's original face was more than half of the moment, and he even responded with some ugly. We will go by ourselves, without you leading the way. Yes. Feeling the disgust in Jiraiya's tone, the Anbu team disappeared again with the body flicker technique. Although Anbu is directly under Hokage, in many cases even elite Jonin try to avoid conflicts with them as much as possible. But Hitaki Xuan Che, Tsunade, Jiraiya, with so many bigwigs gathered here, he didn't dare to put on the airs of Hokage's direct troops. Let's go, Minato. Jiraiya raised his head towards Namikaze Minato. Advertisement, yes, Mr. Jiraiya. Namikaze Minato put away the specially made 3-pointed kunai and bowed to Xuan Che, teached. Immediately, they returned to the village with Namikaze Minato. That Mr. Minato can actually be equal to Master Xuan Che. This is the first time I have seen this kind of thing. Nohara Lin, who has gradually turned into a big loli since childhood, was also shocked and whispered. Why? Didn't you just use all your strength? At this moment, in the forest behind. A suspicious and immature cry came. Tsunade, Rin Nohara and others turned their heads and looked. I saw a boy about 5 years old with black curly hair, looking straight at Xuan Che with curious eyes. The Uchiha clan. Seeing the ping-pong racket on the boy's shoulder. Oh no, the flame fan logo. These 5 words suddenly appeared in Kakashi's heart. The fellow Obito, Tenten, was pestering himself in school, and he was already familiar with this clan emblem. However, the boy in front of him has the iconic black hair of the Uchiha clan, but he has curly hair and a flat nose. Appears to be incompatible with other Uchiha people. I didn't want to kill him, why did I do my best? By the way, The little mouse who has always been hiding behind peeking recently, are you willing to come out? Xuan Che asked without looking back, calmly retracting the sword into the scabbard. During the recent period, Xuan Che can always feel the breath of being observed. It's just that unlike the previous Anbu group of idiots, they don't have any hostility. Xuan Che didn't care about it either. I heard that Konoha Black Sword is the strongest swordsmanship ninja in the village, so I can't help it. The Uchiha boy scratched his head in embarrassment, then bowed and said, "My name is Uchiha Shisui, please advise me, Master Xuan Che." Another weird thing. When he heard the name, Xuan Che said with a look of disgust. Aha! Advertisement Uchiha Shisui, who was less than 5 years old, was puzzled. Originally, Xuan Che thought it was strange enough to die like his brother Hitachi Shumo in the original work. But after learning about Uchiha Shisui's method of death, I feel that Hitachi's method of death is no longer unusual. Especially the distinguished heavenly gods, which can be called a bug skill, took the initiative to tell the elders group of the operation of the four. It is true that Xuan Che, who used his previous life as a reader, has been shown here. This kind of magical skill, even in the face of his parents and close relatives, can only rot in his stomach. Everyone is afraid of their own thoughts being rewritten without knowing it. Not to mention the 4 people who are extremely deep in the political city. The original book Uchiha Shisui suggested that he used distinguished heavenly gods to rewrite Uchiha Fugaku's thinking to prevent the coup. Sarutobi Hiruzen and the others are more afraid that Shisui will use this trick on them. Master Xuan Che, do you know me? Uchiha Shisui curiously said. Is he so famous before he has officially enrolled in the ninja school? I've heard a little bit, I think you and my brother should become good friends. Xuan Che laughed strangely. Really, haha. Uchiha Shisui touched the back of his head a little embarrassed. Konoha's white fang, that is known as the existence second only to the black knife. Are you complimenting yourself? You know, he just passed by accidentally and witnessed the duel exercise between Xuan Che and Hitachi Shumo. Was deeply attracted by the two swordsmanship. After all, he also uses a knife. You are all equally stupid. However, Xuan Che's next sentence instantly made Uchiha Shisui's expression so uncomfortable. Chapter 49. Konoha Village, on the main road leading to the administrative building. Minato. After a long period of contemplation, Jiraiya finally spoke. Wait for a while, no matter what position the old man gives you, you just need to do your own job well and don't worry about extra things. He thought for a long time, but he could only suffocate such a sentence. 3 years of going out for spiritual practice. Jiraiya has already seen through that Namikaze Minato is the standard ninja who targets Hokage. This is a good thing. But I want to be Hokage, and a ninja like Namikaze Minato who is capable of becoming Hokage. Once this decision is made, it will inevitably be involved in political struggles. But Jiraiya can only give such an opinion after thinking about it. He didn't want Namikaze Minato, whose heart was as bright as a child, to be dyed in the darkness of Konoha. I got it. The 17-year-old Namikaze Minato is not as immature as it was 3 years ago. He vaguely guessed the metaphor of the teacher's words, and nodded solemnly. I'm leaving, I will continue to collect materials. With a sudden change in style, Jiraiya made another silly face and turned towards the hot spring pool. The 3 forbiddens of ninja. Teacher. Namikaze Minato smiled bitterly and shook his head, then turned to face the administrative building that was close at hand, marked with a huge fire. Guru. After swallowing hard, Namikaze Minato suppressed the tension in his heart and stepped into it. Advertisement 5 minutes later, in Hokage's office. Both the temperament and the deterrence exuded from the body are very different, Minato. Compared to 3 years ago, Sarutobi Hiruzen with a slightly pale beard seems to be looking at a valuable treasure, smiling at Namikaze Minato in front of him. He looked at him and got goosebumps all over his body. I can't help but mutter that Hokage-sama's orientation is okay. Namikaze Minato in Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart nowadays is not just as simple as priceless, it is completely priceless. Powerful. According to the information from the Ministry of Information, he returned from his practice and could even be invincible under Hitachi Xuan Che. And only 17 years old, the upper limit of future growth is beyond compare. What's more important is that they are of civilian origin, and there is no ninja force behind them, so you can use them with confidence. Another point is the relationship with Nine Tails Jinchuriki Uzumaki Kushina. Nine Tails is the absolute master in Konoha's hands. This is also a card that can be used to restrain Namikaze Minato. To be honest, Namikaze Minato is now in Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart. It is vaguely comparable to Orochimaru. From today, you will officially resume your position in the village. Hearing Sarutobi Hiruzen's words, Namikaze Minato knelt on one knee and led the order, yes, Master Hokage. However, Sarutobi Hiruzen has not finished speaking. Just listen to him again. However, with your current strength, as an ordinary Anbu player, it is no longer suitable. You will be the captain of Anbu. Namikaze Minato's look changed drastically, although on the way back to the village, Jiraiya told herself more than once. After returning to the village, third generation will definitely focus on cultivating himself. Advertisement, but he couldn't think of it. When he came back, Captain Anbu was smashed in the face from his position alone. You know, since White Fang abdicated, this position has been vacant. Seeing Namikaze Minato's flattered expression, Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled as usual. White Fang once held this position, but was dismissed for some reason. I have always had a headache because of the vacancy in this position. After a short pause, Sarutobi Hiruzen said again. But it doesn't matter now, because I have a better person than him. Hearing Sarutobi Hiruzen's appreciation, there were even some words of praise. Namikaze Minato is not very happy, but is getting more and more nervous. Doing such a great kindness. Is it absolutely necessary to tie yourself to the chariot of the Elder Regiment faction? And Mr. Jiraiya said more than once that Mr. Hokage had a bad relationship with Mr. Xuan Che. Is it possible that you want to develop yourself into the secret weapon against Xuan Che? Don't refuse, you can't refuse anyway. At this time, the face of Jiraiya appeared in Namikaze Minato's mind, remembering what the teacher had said to him before. Then, I will try my best, Master Hokage. In desperation, Namikaze Minato had to bow his head. I look forward to your performance. I hope you can be like your codename, Light, like the will of fire, and become the light that shines on the village. Sarutobi Hiruzen was even satisfied, and took out the Anbu mask of Namikaze Minato, which he had prepared, from the drawer, and handed it in front of him. Chapter 50. A few months later, next to Xuan Che's hut. Master Xuan Che, can you teach me ninjutsu? Looking at the big eyes in front of me, it is like a pair of rubies twinkling in the evening red. Xuan Che fell silent briefly. Facing the daughter of his old brother and friend, I really couldn't bear to blow her self-confidence. Think carefully. Does Yurihong have any demonstrable record in the original work? Everyone's impression of her ninjutsu is only the scene of being killed by Uchiha Itachi, right? Xuan Che's impression of this girl is even more direct, only remembering that she grew up and had a very good figure. In addition to illusion, you can also learn medical ninjutsu. After half a day, Xuan Che reluctantly came up with an answer that didn't hurt her much. In the latter part of the Fourth World War, super shadows were everywhere, and cage level was not as good as a dog. You are not even embarrassed to be a ninja if you don't even have the limit of blood succession? Really? Then I should learn more from Tsunade-sama too. Yurihong seemed quite satisfied with this answer, and decided to come here to consult Tsunade when he had time. I don't know what her real purpose is. In addition, Lin Yaoyuan, who always liked to follow behind Tsunade's leather stalks, has one more big loli who likes to run towards Xuan Che. Huh? I don't seem to see Master Tsunade. Yurihong the loli turned around to see Tsunade. The fact that these two people lived together was a completely open secret in Konoha. The prodigal wife took Lin to the gambling shop in the neighboring village early in the morning. Xuan Che said that he was used to it. However, it feels that Lin Nohara's attributes are getting closer to Shizun's position in the original. The one who is responsible for wiping the skin following Tsunade. Hurry, hide here with you. At this moment, two older loli of the same age ran out of the forest road, and the blonde single ponytail hurriedly said. The bastards in the casino actually found the door of my house. Fortunately, Nawaki is helping me to block it. You can borrow me to hide first. Blonde single ponytail, eyes like emeralds, youthful and beautiful temperament. No matter how you look at it, loli is a beautiful woman. That is, a place is really flat, and planes can be parked evenly. Advertisement, and behind this blonde loli is Lin Nohara. Xuan Che didn't bother to care about her, turned around and walked towards the training ground. Recently, the inner voice has become clearer and more obvious. 2 hours later, Nawaki came to Xuan Che with a face of collapse, crying without tears, and complained. My sister owed a total of 5,244,000 liang this time. I gave them the emerald Buddha statue of my grandfather that my father liked very much during his lifetime, and then I reluctantly let the group of people leave. Hey, those people must have gone out of the way, otherwise, how could I lose so much? Blonde loli shouted angrily. Xuan Che and Nawaki stopped talking. How bad Tsunade's gambling skills are, I am afraid that only Senju Hashirama will be resurrected to be able to compete with them. Can it be changed back? Xuan Che said abruptly. Oh, forgot to forget. The blonde loli knocked on his head, raised his index and middle fingers in both hands, folding them up and down to form a seal. Bang. Smoke sounded. Increased G to Nohara Lin and Yurihong on the side, Loli's eyes straightened. He quickly stepped forward, pressing the left and the right on both sides of Tsunade's shoulders, and he looked a little crazy for a while. Master Tsunade, what did you eat during your growth period? Did you develop any strange medicine? Or is there any secret technique? Please tell us quickly. Tsunade, who was shook by the two girls and stared at Venus, said in a rage. You two give me enough. Ignore the famous scenes of 3 women in a play for the time being. Nawaki suddenly remembered something, and looked solemn to Xuan Che. Brother-in-law, and who recently came out as a new captain to replace Mr. Shumao. The codename seems to be Guang. Xuan Che looked slightly sideways. Advertisement, he didn't pay attention to these trivial matters. It's not that I don't care at all, it's just because the inner voice has become stronger and more obvious in the recent period. He was immersed in the comprehension of kendo all day long. Even Tsunade can't help but complain sometimes, hell, you haven't paid public food for so long. However, one of Nawaki's next topics aroused Xuan Che's interest. Kakashi applied for early graduation, but in fact, there is no need for Nawaki to mention this matter. Xuan Che knew about it from Hitaki Tsukumo a long time ago. Although it is not as exaggerated as the original book that both enrollment and graduation are the same year. But with Kakashi's talent, he has been in the ninja school for 3 years. There is really nothing to learn, so I finally applied for early graduation some time ago. In fact, during the war, it is not unusual to graduate early. The average graduation age of most ninja school students is around 10 years old. If you really wait until the 6-year school year, you will graduate at the age of 12. That shows your talent as a ninja, that's it. But Nawaki still brought some interesting news to Xuan Che. At the same time, several people applied for early graduation. Among them is Uchiha Obito. It seems that after I heard that Kakashi applied for early graduation, he applied without being outdone. Then there is Might Guy, number 2 Cranetail, who claims to be Kakashi's forever enemy. Hokage's second son, the future bearded Asuma. Master Xuan Che, I also applied for early graduation. Me too, I feel that there is nothing to learn in school. Lin said that I also want to apply for early graduation, and I will be together. At this moment, Loli, the 2 big titans Rin Nohara and Irihon, who had been rewarded by Tsunade alone, interjected. Things seem to be getting more and more interesting. Xuan Che smiled slightly. Was it the Third Ninja War? This matter, you have to make good use of it. Chapter 51. Inside Hokage's office. Look at Namikaze Minato, who is returning from the mission, or Anbu Captain, Hikari. Sarutobi Hiruzen has a satisfied smile on his face. Sure enough, the same as what the intelligence tells. But at the age of 18, he already has the strength of Cage level. One-handed flying Thunder God technique is superb, and even has a vague tendency to surpass his teacher Senju Tobirama. Of course, it only refers to speed at the moment. The task is hard, Minato. Sarutobi Hiruzen first came with a set of official greetings. Where, Lord Hokage, it's just an A- level mission. Namikaze Minato, who was wearing an Anbu mask, smiled reluctantly. To be honest, Sarutobi Hiruzen's overcultivation even made him fear. Free is the most expensive. Sarutobi Hiruzen cultivated himself so hard, only Namikaze Minato felt as if there was a big mountain pressing behind him. However, I think it's time for you to take off your mask and become an official ninja in the light, Minato. Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly said again, and this sentence surprised Namikaze Minato. He has only been the captain of Anbu for a few months, so he has to change departments again? I hope you can become a Gai Jonin, this year's student, very interesting. Sarutobi Hiruzen is holding a stack of documents. It is the early graduation application form sent from the ninja school the other day. Just by looking at such a thick stack, you know that there are a lot of people. Hitaki Tsukumo's son Hitaki Kakashi, although the grades are at the end. Uchiha Obito has the blood of Uchiha. The Sarutobi family is diehard, Shiranui Genma of the Shiranui family. The Kato family, but Kato Shizune who did not inherit the Kato Dan spiritualization technique. Nohara Lin, a civilian girl who walked very close to Tsunade. His only blood, Sarutobi Asuma, call. Advertisement after finishing a day of basic training, Shigwo was on his upper body, and his sturdy figure looked like Zoro. Xuan Che sat cross-legged on the lawn. After taking a deep breath, he entered the Sword Zen, state of closed eyes and meditation. Open black lens bracket host. Hitaki Xuan Che close black lens bracket, swordsmanship. Hitaki, Hokage world. Right pointing arrow Hawkeye black swordsmanship, One Piece world, evolution degree. Percent. Fire style ninjutsu, Hokage world. Right pointing arrow blood succession limit inferno style, Hokage world, evolution. 91.4%. Body flicker technique, Hokage world. Right pointing arrow Shunpo, Shinigami world, evolution. 30%. After more than 3 years, I opened the system panel again. The value on the panel flashed in front of his eyes, and Xuan Che only felt that his whole person's thoughts, even his soul, had detached himself from the body for a while and came to a dark world. Every time I walked, there was nothing but ripples on the soles of my feet. But Xuan Che only felt as if something was calling him. Although there was no sound, he kept calling himself to go forward. Even Xuan Che himself doesn't know how long he has been away. Finally, a dark world finally ignited a fleeting flame. When Xuan Che raised his eyes again to look ahead, the light and shadow remained where the flame dissipated. An ugly blade was quietly inserted in the center of the ripples. Xuan Che didn't say anything, but calmly walked to the front of the sword, which had nothing special. Reach out and hold it. In an instant, the moment when the palm and the handle of the knife are held together. The dark ripples under her feet that were invisible, suddenly resembled dense spider web patterns. Split open countless cracks, however, it is not waiting for Xuan Che to enjoy this moment of light. From the endless cracks, a violent flame that could burn everything in the world burst out. However, it swallowed the world completely in a flash. In the real world, Xuan Che suddenly opened his eyes. The Fantai Tai sword that was originally placed on his legs turned into the one he held in the burning flame world just now. Deep purple handle rope, simple knife shank. There's no Eagle Eye's supreme sharp knife and Knight's gorgeousness, nor Zoro's sharp knife and Autumn Water's coquettish. Advertisement. I insist on the difference from Xuan Che's previous one. I'm afraid it is only slightly better in appearance. That's it. Congratulations to host for opening a new dimension of evolution, close black lens bracket. White blade Taito, Hokage world. Right pointing arrow sealed state Zanpakuto, Shinigami world, evolution degree, 1%. Already comprehend the new skill, sword squeeze. Skill description. A realm that only a swordsman who has reached the peak can comprehend, turning the sword intent into an endless deterrent, making the enemy afraid to raise a trace of hostility and even causing physical damage. User representatives. Hawkeye, Yamamoto Genryusai, Aizen Sosuke, Kurosaki Ichigo. It feels like conquerors like a swordsman. Xuan Che muttered to himself, then squeezed his right hand again, feeling the impact from the spiritual world just now, and said. The burning sensation of the flame just now is not a joke. Xuan Che. At this moment, a familiar voice sounded from the left. Xuan Che turned his head to look subconsciously, but because he had just returned from the spiritual world, he had not completely eliminated his sword intent, and he involuntarily exuded sword pressure. When Hokage jumped from the tree, it happened to meet Xuan Che's gaze. Wow! Konoha's white Fang, whose strength has been approaching the peak of cage level, staggered when he landed, and fell into a dog to eat shit. Are you here to perform the skit? Xuan Che draped his shirt over his shoulders, cursing his sword intent and said amusedly. Hitaki Tsukumo rubbed his butt, and the corners of his eyes twitched involuntarily. At the same time, there was a chill with lingering fears in his heart. Is the sword intent that this kid exuded just now too exaggerated? What? The leather strands fell in half. Do you want me to help? Xuan Che stepped forward and reached out to Hitaki Tsukumo. It was originally two halves. Hitaki Tsukumo couldn't help but spit out, but he reached out his hand to let Xuan Che pull himself up, and said. Today is the day when Kakashi and their group of children graduate early. I just estimated that at least a dozen children have entered the examination room. Let's take a look. I just finished today's cultivation, and walked in front of the ghost gate of the spiritual world again. Xuan Che didn't have the energy to practice anymore, so he dressed neatly and entered the village with Hitaki Shumao. P.S. Continue to ask for flowers, evaluation ticket chapter 52. In front of the ninja school, there's already a huge crowd. This is too exaggerated. Back then, I graduated early and there were not so many people. Xuan Che said that he wanted to leave after seeing so many people. This year's graduation lineup is said to be very special, not to mention the second son of Lord Hokage. There are also children from the Uchiha family, and quite a few descendants of the small ninja. Hitaki Tsukumo talked about the back, suddenly found two familiar back figures in the front, and greeted him actively. Die, it's red. Hearing Hitaki Tsukumo's call, the two people in front of the school gate turned their heads and looked. Might wears and Yuri is really red. Oh, Shumao. You are here too. The children are showing their youth in it. 10,000 years Genin. Might Die. His character is exactly the same as Konoha and his son Might Guy. Since the end of the Second Ninja War, Konoha's 10,000 years Genin has been the only one. Although Xuan Che is still Genin, but Yuri Zhenhong looked at Xuan Che's face but looked a little unkind. He always felt that the cabbage he had just grown in his family might have been stolen by an old pig. Xuan Che said, you think too much, right? A 9-year-old hairy girl. The parents who focused on the crowds in front of the school didn't wait long and saw the door of the teaching building slowly open. One by one, little ghosts walked out of it, and the bright forehead protector on their foreheads caught the attention of the parents before their faces. The first one is a certain 55 open, as expected of your son, Shuamao. Shiri Zhenhong praised. Red is also very good. Hitaki Tsukumo also noticed the evening red of Kakashi later, and a brand new forehead protector was tied to his delicate face and forehead. Xuan Che also glanced inside. All those who wear forehead protector are familiar faces. Advertisement Kakashi, Yuri Hong, Nohara Lin, Asuma. Obito and Might Guy, the two 10,000 years crane tails, actually succeeded. Guy, good job. You carried out your youth, Dad. Two thick eyebrows wearing green tights embraced each other enthusiastically, and for a moment everyone on the scene seemed to see that the background behind them changed from the school to the sunset on the coastline. The cold. Sure enough, that kid will become your rival in the future, Kakashi. Hitaki Tsukumo walked to his son's side, looked at the embracing father and son with a smile. Hey, Kakashi curled his lips behind the mask rather displeased. Might Guy and Uchiha Obito are both low-score drifters. Kakashi, the chief student who graduated with perfect scores in all disciplines, doesn't look down on them at all. He noticed that he was staring directly at his little Shirihong Loli with a look of, hurry up and praise me. Xuan Che put one hand on each side, put it on top of her and Yi Yuanlun's heads and ravaged them twice. Here you go. Hey, Shiri blushing and pre-face blushed and smiled. And Xuan Che also naturally felt the gaze of Shiri Zhenhong who wanted to kill someone next to him. There are also many candidates who have not graduated successfully. But Xuan Che, the traveler, has no impression of them. Long sleeves that don't even have a name don't deserve the author to describe them. Oh, at this moment, a burst of exclamation erupted from the crowd, and many people had the word, stunned, written on their faces. A boy about 5 years old with black hair and curly hair. A Konoha logo forehead protector was also engraved on his forehead, and he walked out of the school building. Uchiha, Shisui, advertisement because White Fang is not dead. Kakashi did not complete the fastest record of enrollment and graduation in the same year in the original book. Unexpectedly, someone did it for him. The Uchiha clan? It is said that a descendant of Uchiha Kagami, Mirror, is it the Uchiha who is rumored to have served as the guard of the second Hokage with the 4 members of the elders. After so many years, is Uchiha finally about to give birth to a genius? Uchiha Shisui, who had just enrolled in school a few months ago and graduated with a fragile age of 5, shocked many veteran Jonin in the audience. This is faster than Xuan Che and Sanin, who enrolled at the age of 5 and graduated at the age of 6 more than 20 years ago. Even more unclear is Shisui's family background. Uchiha and the current Konoha executives did not deal with each other. This is a completely open secret. This Uchiha is much more reliable than you. 55 Kai did not let go of any chance of taunting his rival Rentu, and said with a side look. What are you talking about? B*******************. D. Obito was hurt by the sting, twisting Kakashi's collar, and the two of them sprayed each other again. Uchiha of the same background, one is a genius, the other is a crane tail. This gap is too big, right? Xuan Che's gaze only stayed on Shisui for a few seconds before he was no longer interested. For this stranger than his stupid brother, there is nothing less than a kid. Xuan Che didn't bother to talk to him, and he was not relatives with him. But Xuan Che ignored it, and Shisui took the initiative to get closer. It's been a long time, Mr. Xuan Che. I heard that Kakashi seniors are going to apply for early graduation, so they applied together. Shisui said with a simple smile. Your path is destined to be difficult. Xuan Che's unkind expression made Shisui a little imaginary. Ominous Premonition. Chapter 53, Uchiha Shisui. In the Hokage office of the administrative building. Sarutobi Hiruzen can't help but feel a headache looking at the extra graduate profile. He had already decided on the grouping of the Genin team, but suddenly Uchiha Shisui appeared. Completely disrupted his own placement plan. Originally, he planned to let the examiner give a bit of a cruel hand, and brush this kid down. Unexpectedly, Uchiha Shisui's accomplishments in illusion are beyond imagination. Taking advantage of the moment when the examiner slackened, he brought it down with a one-shot illusion. If it is not passed this time, everyone can see that there is a shady behind it. You seem to be troubled, Hiruzen. At this time, Danzo, an old partner who had known each other for nearly half a century, stepped into the office, with an expression on his face that everyone owed him 800. How about giving it to the old man? This is not something you can take away if you want. Sarutobi Hiruzen put down Uchiha Shisui's graduation slip and said indifferently. Do you think Uchiha will give you the genius of their clan? Since Uchiha Kagami, the Uchiha clan has no iconic powerhouse. In fact, even Uchiha Kagami has not left a name in Konoha's history because of his early death. Now a genius has finally emerged. Uchiha Fugaku, how could they leave it to Danzo? You are still too naive, Hiruzen, Danzo chuckled. Although the strength is not as good as you, but in the aspect of playing yin. You Sarutobi Hiruzen still miss yourself more than a bit. Ninja school, in a certain classroom. The students who passed the early graduation assessment and got the forehead protector gathered in the classroom. Waiting for the head teacher Senju Nawaki to announce the results of the placement. Among a group of graduates with an average age of 10, Uchiha Shisui, who is only 5 years old, seems out of place. First group, Might Guy, Shiranui Genma, Ebisu, advertisement. Nawaki took the list with Hokage's stamp and said. The second group, Kato Shizune, Nohara Lin. When Nawaki yelled Lin's name, Obito immediately stabs his A*, almost jumping from his seat, screaming inwardly. Me. Sunset is red. However, the last name Nawaki called out shattered Obito's last hope. But fortunately in the misfortune, he has not yet made him despair. After all, there is no male in Lin's group, especially the pesky Kakashi. Then the last set, Hitaki Kakashi, Sarutobi Asuma and Uchiha Obito. Nawaki's next words are to completely plunge Obito into the abyss. Puffed up from his seat, Obito pointed to Kakashi and cursed. Ms. Nawaki, why should I be in the same class as that idiot Kakashi? Do you think I want to work with you, the tail of the crane? Kakashi retorted unceremoniously. In order to average the strength of each group, the first place and the last place can complement each other. Kaido, in a calm tone of Nawaki, made up for Obito again. Come on, Obito. Rin Nohara, who was sitting behind Obito, soothed. The encouragement of the goddess made Tim Dog feel like a spring breeze, and instantly sat down again with a face full of intoxication. That. Mr. Nawaki, what about me? Shisui pointed to himself. How did he get left behind? You. Looking at Uchiha Shisui's classification information, Senju Nawaki couldn't help but frowned and said. You are special, it will be arranged above, wait a minute. Oh. Shisui nodded obediently. To be honest, he wanted Xuan Che to teach himself. That sword technique is simply the existence that oneself dreams of. But Shisui thought about it carefully. I'm afraid this is unlikely. Because Master Xuan Che himself, it seems that he is also Genin. Advertisement, Jonin, the instructor of each class, will be back to pick you up soon. Come on, everyone. After Nawaki left a few words of encouragement, he left the classroom. But I always feel that this sorting combination is a bit weird. It stands to reason that Sarutobi Hiruzen should be very alert now that the Hitaki brothers are. How could he put his son in the same class as White Fang's son? As Nawaki said, soon Jonin, the instructor in charge of the 3 Genin classes, came one after another. In charge of the Might Guy team is Konoha Jonin, who has a relatively average overall strength. 2 minutes later, Namikaze Minato, who took off the mask, walked into the classroom, smiled, pointed his thumb up and pointed out, and said, Uchiha Obito, Hitaki Kakashi, and Sarutobi Asuma, come with me. Since they were determined to be teammates, the 3 people who had not communicated with each other silently stood up and left with Namikaze Minato. Before Obito left, he waved to Lin again and again. Namikaze Minato smiled bitterly inside, feeling that this class is not very easy to take. Who am I responsible for? Come out. The uninhibited voice made Rinohara and Yurihong feel familiar when they saw Tsunade walking into the classroom with an annoying expression on his face. The three girls, including Shizune, are all overjoyed. They're their idols. Master Tsunade, why did you come to guide Jonin? I'm so happy. Can I learn from Tsunade-sama in the future? Tight, I'm tense. Facing the three excited little girls, Tsunade rubbed the pale yellow hair on the top of his head, resentful. The B*************** Xuan Che helps me make decisions casually. I'm too free to say anything. Go find something to do. B********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* don't be so grieving, it's also an interesting experience. A chilling voice sounded from the back of his head just by listening. Tsunade turned his eyes and raised his eyebrows lightly. Orochimaru? You guys haven't seen him for a long time, why are you here? I'm also here to recruit disciples. Orochimaru walked around Tsunade and walked into the classroom saying. The genius of the Uchiha family, come out with me. Chapter 54. Big, Orochimaru-sama? Shisui's immature face was full of astonishment. Although one of Sannin Tsunade-sama can guide Jonin, it doesn't seem to be a strange thing that another Sannin serves as his own teacher. But since the Second Ninja World War, Orochimaru seems to have evaporated and don't know what he is doing. Suddenly appeared in front of me, and I wanted to be my guide Jonin. Even though Shisui was young, he could feel something strange in it. What? Don't you want me to be your teacher? Orochimaru grinned strangely. The three girls who looked at Nohara Lin had goosebumps. Hey, what the hell are you doing again? Tsunade's beautiful eyes are faint, and he asks Orochimaru sideways. Shisui, a 5-year-old kid, could perceive something wrong. She has known Orochimaru for more than 20 years, not to mention. I just want to accomplish something that Master Second Hokage couldn't do. Orochimaru answered with an ambiguous smile. Even Tsunade would never think of it. After the end of the Second Ninja War 3 years ago, he immediately responded to the call of Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo. As a member of the Root organization, he joined the research and transplantation program for first Hokage cells. Orochimaru would agree to join, of course not because of how loyal he is to Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo. It's just that his instinct as a pervert scientist is just about to move. And in response to the proposal Danzo made to him 2 days ago. What will happen to Senju and Uchiha, the two strongest blood in the ninja world merged with the boundary? Regarding this proposal, Orochimaru was already so excited that he couldn't help himself. Tsunade couldn't find any reason to refute, so he could only watch Orochimaru leave with Uchiha Shisui. Advertisement. Let's go too. Tsunade rubbed his temples and didn't want to think about it anymore, turning his eyes to the 3 girls next to him. Yes. The 3 women responded in unison. Inside the Uchiha tribe, Uchiha Fugaku, who had just been promoted to the position of patriarch, held a high-level meeting within the family. Gather the elites above the Jonin level in the clan. Inform them that Uchiha Shisui has been delivered to Orochimaru for training. Orochimaru is a disciple of 3rd Hokage. Patriarch, are you planning to show Hokage good? A Hawk Uchiha asked with a slightly unkind tone. The Uchiha clan finally made a genius. According to their idea, it should be cultivated within the family and avoid being handed over to the people of the Hokage faction. Therefore, among the many Uchiha Jonin present, many people were quite dissatisfied with Uchiha Fugaku's decision. Everyone, please calm down and think about it. Now that 3rd generation is getting older, the candidate for 4th Hokage will be on the agenda sooner or later. So, who is the most likely candidate? As soon as Uchiha Fugaku said this, many opponents fell silent. About 2 minutes later, everyone said the same person's name in unison. Orochimaru. Although the name of Namikaze Minato, Golden Flash, is getting louder and louder. But it still can't compare with Orochimaru, who has made many achievements in the Second Ninja War. As for Tsunade, look at the fate of Uchiha's rival, Senju. Is it her turn? Yes, if Orochimaru is promoted to 4th Hokage, Shisui will be Hokage's disciple. Uchiha Fugaku said with heart and soul. Advertisement. In this way, everyone thinks that my decision is right or wrong. I have to say, Uchiha Fugaku is a pretty good abacus. As Sarutobi Hiruzen ages, it will not take long for the candidate of 4th Hokage to be officially put on the agenda. And Orochimaru is undoubtedly the person most likely to be qualified for his job. From the perspective of Uchiha Fugaku, he believes that Shisui will surely achieve the same achievements as his predecessor Uchiha Kagami. If there is this halo of Orochimaru disciple again. 5th Hokage's position on Uchiha is also a certainty, right? After listening to Uchiha Fugaku's explanation, many radicals have gradually calmed down. Although the character of the Uchiha clan tends to be jealous, they are not idiots. Although the number of Jonin in their clan is higher on average than other big clan. But for many years, no Kage level like Senju Tsunade has been born. The position of 4th Hokage is definitely not expected. It can only extend the goal to the 5th generation. After learning about Uchiha Fugaku, the results of the meeting were officially confirmed. The meeting adjourned. Uchiha Fugaku's idea is very thoughtful in every way. But as an aboriginal in this world, he can't even predict when he will run for 4th Hokage in the future. It will kill Namikaze Minato halfway and cut the position of Orochimaru's Hokage. And now Xuan Che also has the idea of helping Tsunade cut Hokage's position in advance. His act of sending Uchiha Shisui to Orochimaru to make a relationship. I can only get rid of it. Chapter 55 located in the area between the country of fire and the country of earth in an underground grotto. Master Madara, a lot of interesting things have happened to Konoha recently. On the wall of the grotto, there is a black hole twisted into a spiral shape with a black hole in the center, and the pale and special white Zetsu protrudes half of his body from it. Beside it, another white Zetsu who was equally pale, but with only the left half of his face, also appeared, and the interface smiled strangely. Uchiha gave birth to another genius, but, hey, he became a test subject for first Hokage Hashirama cells. In terms of latent investigative ability, in the Hokage world, White Zetsu said it was second. I am afraid that no one would dare to say it was the first. Since Uchiha Madara made him out, he has never stopped monitoring Konoha. Naturally, Shisui's situation was completely in their eyes. The old man sitting on the withered wood throne raised his eyes slightly, revealing the Sharingan under his long gray hair. After a short silence, he let out a sneer of disdain. Under the leadership of Tobirama's disciples, Konoha naturally knew what virtue he became. But now Uchiha Madara has completely lost interest in Konoha, focusing entirely on Project Tsuki no Mi. He didn't bother to care what Konoha became. The reason why White Zetsu keeps monitoring Konoha is to find the third insurance. That's right. In order to revive herself, Uchiha Madara prepared 3 insurances. The first way is to have Rinnegan transplanted to him by himself, and Nagato with the blood of the Uzumaki clan. The second way is the absolute, with one's own will. But just these 2 insurances, Uchiha Madara feels that it is not enough, so he needs one more person. Advertisement: a person who can help to ensure that he can be resurrected in the future. And this candidate must meet these 2 conditions. First, one must have the direct bloodline of 6 paths, that is, people from the Senju, Uchiha or Uzumaki family. In this way, it can bear the side effects of Hashirama cells and transplant Rinnegan, and it is possible to use Rinne Tensai technique. In order to resurrect yourself. Second, we must be completely desperate for this existing world, longing to see Project Tsuki no Mi. Only in this way can you be in line with your goals so that you can assist yourself. And over the years, Uchiha Madara has discovered several targets through monitoring Konoha. The grandson of his old enemy Senju Hashirama, Senju Nawaki. Hashirama's direct bloodline, but also survived in name only because the Senju clan was framed by the Konoha execs last year. He hates Konoha very much and is a good candidate. And let the grandson of the old enemy Blacken become his own pawn. Weak receptors can summon Hashirama and Tobirama using methods such as impure world reincarnation. Let them see their grandson being treated by themselves, Blacken, what kind of expression it would be. There is one thing to say, and it feels really exciting. There are not 2 things in this world that make Uchiha Madara so excited. It's so cool to think about it. For some reason, Uchiha Madara always has an inexplicable sense of refreshment. This is probably why so many people like Torin, advertisement. After all, the dog author used to write that his Dujin likes to grab wives the most. But they are all afraid of the god of harmony that has become more and more powerful in recent years, and gradually loses the guts. But unfortunately, Senju Nawaki's qualifications as a ninja are really bad. Uchiha Madara wanted to complain about this, and his grandfather was in heaven and underground. Another reason is that his only family sister, Tsunade, did not die. Otherwise Blacken's is easier. Secondly, the new genius of the Uchiha family, Uchiha Shisui, was discovered recently. Now he is reduced to Konoha's puppet for studying Hashirama cells. With a little design, Blacken should be able to succeed. The last one is a kid named Uchiha Obito, who seems mediocre. But judging by his vicious eyes of Uchiha Madara, this kid has great potential. Let's take another look. After thinking for a long time, the elderly Madara spoke again. The kid Nagato is still growing up. Relying on the power of the Geto statue, he can hold on for a while. Which one is Uchiha Shisui or Uchiha Obito? He has to consider it carefully. Chapter 56. A few months later, Konoha Shinobi School. In the large lecture hall, the first session of the Chunin exam is in full swing. Of course, it is impossible to gather ninja village candidates from many countries to take the exam like the Uzumaki Naruto period in the future. Only Konoha's genin was present. Uchiha Obito was holding his head in his hands, trembling frantically, barely writing the word council on his face. What to do? I'm dead. He raised his head and glanced at the little test time left, and the paper on the desktop where he hadn't written anything except the name. Obito said that his mentality collapsed. Click. Suddenly, Obito only felt something lightly hitting his leg under the desk. Looking down, I saw that a ball of paper had fallen between my feet. At this moment, when Nawaki, who was in charge of the examination on the podium, was not paying attention. Obito quietly picked up the ball of paper and pulled it aside. Shuan's small print came into view, and Obito was immediately startled. Turn around and look around. Only 2 seats away from me, a beautiful face that has made me think about it for months is reflected in the focus of his eye pupils. Obito just felt his heart tremble fiercely. There are still 10 minutes to rewind. With a reminder from Nawaki on the podium, he quickly pulled Obito back from the nympho state, and quickly copied the content on the paper ball on his test paper. This brat. Nawaki on the stage secretly shook his head. Advertisement, even if his ninja level is not very good. Does his clumsy cheating skills really think he can hide it from his own eyes? But after thinking about it, Nawaki decided to let this kid go. The same famous door, but the same crane tail, he couldn't help showing a little more attention to Obito. But what makes Nawaki more curious? Why did Uchiha Shisui, a genius who graduated from a ninja school at the age of 5, take the exam in the future? Does Senior Orochimaru think it's too early for him to take the Chunin exam? In another faculty lounge next to the large stepped classroom where the first written test is going on, Xuan Che and Orochimaru sat opposite each other. Xuan Che drooped his right hand on the top of the backrest of the sofa behind him, tilted Erlang's legs, and asked Orochimaru with his left hand lightly. How about your Uchiha kid? Huh, Xuan Che-kun, who has always been indifferent to everything, is actually interested in Shisui. What kind of wind is this blowing? Orochimaru smiled strangely as always. Xuan Che raised his head and chuckles. That girl named Mitarashi Anko, 1 year older than Shisui, is still undergraduate from ninja school. If you think about it in another way, Shisui's fate should have been planted with the spell of heaven. But I remember that although Anko became Orochimaru's disciple in the original book, he was not as missing as Shisui. I am afraid it will not be as simple as the curse of the sky. Just kidding, since Xuan Che-kun wants to know so much, then naturally I don't need to hide it. Orochimaru smiled even more, then his expression became more solemn, and then said. Advertisement, however, I really didn't expect that Uchiha's blood and Master First Hokage's cells could blend so perfectly. Except for Shisui-kun, the other subjects were all dead. Has it started? Xuan Che's eyes flashed with strangeness, but it was not enough to make people lose their composure. Already? Orochimaru keenly caught the 2 words in Xuan Che's mouth and smiled. Xuan Che seems to have expected the teacher and they are studying First Hokage cells. Nothing. After all, wood style has been lost. There is no way to perfectly suppress 9 tails in the village. It is expected to create another First Hokage. Xuan Che said again. And then? What are you going to do with the only Uchiha Shisui who has transplanted first-generation cells and is not dead? At this point, Orochimaru fell silent. After about 2 minutes, Orochimaru spoke again. This matter, Xuan Che-kun, can it be kept secret? I was just interested in asking, let alone you didn't reveal that I killed Sarutobi Shinosuke. What good is it for me to tell others? Xuan Che asked amusedly. Hearing what Xuan Che said, Orochimaru was relieved a lot, but still subconsciously lowered his voice and said. Although he survived, he still can't control wood style perfectly. Master Danzo lied to teacher Sarutobi that Uchiha Shisui was dead, but he actually hid it in the deepest part of the root base and prepared to use it as his own chess piece. Xuan Che raised his eyebrows lightly. Danzo, the old man, really has a set. I thought that his break with Sarutobi Hiruzen was after the end of the Third Ninja War. Unexpectedly, it started so early. After all, Lord Danzo's strength has entered a period of weakness, and he can no longer maintain his cage-level strength. It is understandable to keep a whole card. Orochimaru laughed. As for the geniuses of Mr. Sarutobi is also extremely troubled. I just want to delay one day, but when the Uchiha clan knows, I don't know what will happen then. Chapter 57. This year's Chunin exam was passed without any surprises. In the absence of a genius Uchiha Shisui, Hitaki Kakashi became the only person who passed the Chunin exam and was promoted to Chunin. Namikaze Minato celebrated the student's successful promotion to Chunin, and also used his poor pocketbook to pack a box in the barbecue restaurant. Celebrate Kakashi. However, the 3 students at the table were all in a silent embarrassment, which made him, a person with the little sun character, couldn't help but twitch. Kakashi, Obito, and Asuma didn't talk to each other, and they didn't even want to communicate. Anyway, it's just not pleasing to each other. This state has been several months since the identification of Minato class members. It has never changed. Is it really okay to continue like this? While Namikaze Minato is celebrating Kakashi, Sarutobi Hiruzen is wandering back and forth in Hokage's office with a splitting headache. A few days ago, Danzo reported to him that the first-generation cell experiment had failed, and all the subjects, including Uchiha Shisui, died. Uchiha Shisui is dead. This made Sarutobi Hiruzen startled in a cold sweat. At the same time, I also realized that I had previously decided to hand Shisui to Orochimaru and Danzo for experimentation. What a serious mistake was committed. After so many years, Uchiha finally gave birth to a genius. It just died. How did he explain to the Uchiha clan? If one can't handle it, what if this clan goes the other way? Well, in fact, he is not very afraid of the Uchiha clan. The current Uchiha family should not be underestimated. Advertisement, but with the energy in their hands, it is just easy to suppress them. But what happens after the suppression? Tell the other ninjas and villagers in the village that it was because of their own human experiments that killed the genius of the Uchiha clan, so they reversed it. In that case, the image of kindness that he has created over the years will be destroyed in an instant. Other ninjas will also be ready to move. I'm afraid that the next thing the high level has to solve is myself. But what about the successive rebellions? Although the current Uchiha's strength is not to be feared, it is like a barrel of explosives. Once they ignite the fire, the huge fire barrel named Konoha Shinobi in the back will explode. Hiruzen, don't lose your calm. Danzo, who was standing on the other side, spoke leisurely. Are you calm down now? Danzo. Sarutobi Hiruzen gritted his teeth and said. I have said that you must be careful in the experiment, and that's it for other subjects. Even the Uchiha clan. How do you tell me to explain to the Uchiha clan? Danzo calmly said. Why do we need to explain to them? isn't it enough to change the account? What did you say? Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression suddenly changed. 2 methods. Danzo raised 2 fingers in his left hand, calmly saying. It was announced that Uchiha Shisui was killed in the mission, and it was the ninja of the Kingdom of Wind who attacked him, intending to seize Sharingan's secrets and transfer Uchiha's hatred to the Kingdom of Wind. Are you kidding me? Even Sarutobi Hiruzen was taken aback by Danzo's method. You signed a truce with the Wind Nation before, but now you want to pour sewage on them? Of course, other countries are also okay, but eat persimmons to pick up soft ones. The Wind country is the weakest of the 5 countries. Don't you think it is very appropriate? Advertisement Danzo was as calm as ever. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a deep breath, barely calmed down, and said. What is your second method? As a last resort, Sarutobi Hiruzen would never adopt this plan. Isn't this launching the third ninja war? Then you have to wrong your lover Orochimaru? Danzo's horns lifted up with a slight invisible arc, and then. Just say that it was all his mistake, and he was regarded as rebellious, and then Uchiha's hatred was naturally transferred to him. This, Sarutobi Hiruzen was completely dumbfounded. Isn't this too improper? Danzo leaned on the sofa and calmly said. Anyway, the friendship between Orochimaru and your apprentice is weak, isn't it? Compared to the war in the country of the wind, I think this method has minimized the loss. Sarutobi Hiruzen fell into a long silence for a while. Danzo saw that the other party hadn't said anything for a long time, so he took the initiative to get up and leave the office before leaving. It's decided, just call me from the ward. When only Sarutobi Hiruzen was left in the office, he sat alone in an office chair. I don't know how long I meditated. From the high sun to sunset, then the full moon appears, and then to the first day of the sky. In the end, Sarutobi Hiruzen gritted his teeth and said with a compromising verbal expression. Anbu. Go and call Orochimaru. Chapter 58 on the outskirts of Konoha, next to the stream. Nohara Lin, Yurihon, Kato Shizune, 3 large lowly knees and kneeling on the lawn. In front of them, each lay a big fish that was dying due to excessive dehydration. The 3 women placed a small hand pillow on the fish, and a faint green light shined from the palms. This is the medical ninjutsu of the few medical ninjas who can master healing jutsu. At this moment, Tsunade, who is in charge of coaching, is standing beside the 3 lowly, yawning boringly. I really want to go to the casino, Tsunade muttered inwardly. Ah ha ha. At this moment, the 3 lowly who were practicing healing jutsu were shocked by the loud laughter that was like Zhou Xingxing's version from not far away. The chaotic chakra hit the big fish that was already on the verge of death, and the 3 fish groups were destroyed. The 3 girls of Nohara Lin turned their eyes to look. By the farmland, Xuan Che and Orochimaru were sitting opposite each other. And Xuan Che was laughing exaggeratedly. What's the nerve of this guy? Tsunade raised an eyebrow angrily, then shouted to Sanloli. What are you looking at? Catch another fish and continue practicing. Shocked by Tsunade's tiger's gesture, the 3 charming little girls had to lift their trouser legs again and go down to the river to catch fish. But the heart can't help but be curious. What can make Xuan Che happy like this? Wonderful. Sure enough, staying in Konoha will bring you new surprises every day. Xuan Che clapped his hands and exclaimed. Orochimaru, who is sitting opposite, is extremely rare and speaks speechlessly. Xuan Che-kun, I'm telling you business, not a joke. Just 2 hours ago, advertisement he was called into the office by his teacher 3rd Hokage. And told him a news that even Orochimaru himself was shocked. Hope he defected, but to be precise, it was not a true defect. Instead, let him leave Konoha. The death of Uchiha Shisui, although Sarutobi Hiruzen is trying to conceal the news. But the Uchiha clan will know sooner or later. At that time, Sarutobi Hiruzen, who cannot give the other party an explanation, is bound to have a head-on conflict with the Uchiha family. This Uchiha fuse will also become the leash that detonates the entire Konoha gunpowder barrel. Therefore, Sarutobi Hiruzen needs to transfer the hatred of the Uchiha family. He called Orochimaru, hoping to let Orochimaru take on this responsibility. Alleged to the Uchiha clan that he was the one who carried out illegal human experiments that led to the accidental death of Uchiha Shisui and defected to Konoha. To achieve the purpose of transferring the hatred of the Uchiha clan. Of course, even though Orochimaru is listed as a traitor, he will not be hunted down. Just let Orochimaru act in another place. In short, it is, swing the pot. At that time Orochimaru heard about Sarutobi Hiruzen's plan. He's stunned. Okay, although I knew in my heart what kind of virtue this teacher is. But I didn't expect his operation to be so sassy. Although I am very happy to conduct experiments on first-generation cells. But did you follow your instructions from beginning to end? Now if something goes wrong, call yourself back. Although it is said that, the sly rabbit is dead, the stupid dog is cooking. The rabbit is not dead yet, it is hidden in the base by Danzo. However, Orochimaru knows very well that even if he tells the truth, Danzo will never admit it. And Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo, the pair of friends and foxes, he knows nothing better. This pot, I have decided by myself. Xuan Che is so happy because he really didn't expect Sarutobi Hiruzen to be so good at playing. Let Orochimaru, the most beloved or once beloved disciple, carry the pot. Advertisement. Suddenly I felt that this product was a bit pitiful. But you don't need to be so depressed, do you? You're going to defect anyway, don't you? Xuan Che laughed and said, early and later are the same. Orochimaru's pupils shrink slightly, it was from the last Ninja World War that he became more and more boring about Konoha, and it was not that he had never thought of the road of defecting to the village. The reason for showing this astonished attitude now is not because of worries about the future, but because he is surprised that his teacher can abandon himself so without hesitation. Orochimaru said that my heart is bitter, what did I do wrong? Isn't it all you told me to do? Xuan Che is funny inside. According to common sense, Sarutobi Hiruzen is indeed not so decisive to give up this once beloved disciple. But right now, there is already Namikaze Minato, a more obedient alternative, and Orochimaru's relationship with himself is getting colder. In addition, this time the basket is really too big, and we must find a way to fill it. It is impossible for him Sarutobi Hiruzen to stand up on his own or let Danzo come out to be responsible. Then Orochimaru can only come out, sad reminder. Although the felony committed by this guy in the future is enough to shoot him 800 times. However, all the messes that have been made now come from the instructions of Shimura Danzo and Sarutobi Hiruzen. In the end, they have to wipe their skin. It's really unlucky, even a little pitiful. Having had no choice but to accept the reality, Orochimaru barely calmed down, then asked. Can't Xuan Che-kun show me a way out? Xuan Che's eyes changed slightly. Oh? You are just a fake defect, and the two of you won't really chase you down. Do you still need my help? You look down on me too, right, Xuan Che-kun? Orochimaru returned to his previous style and licked his lips. Your patience with the current elders is reaching the limit, isn't it? Don't tell me that you don't have any thoughts about eradicating them. Are you interested in the Konoha collapse plan? After a short silence, Xuan Che spoke quietly. Chapter 59. Orochimaru defected. Compared with the original work, he defected nearly 10 years earlier. At present, only a handful of people know about this matter. Because in the past few years, Orochimaru's sense of existence is too low. So that when he disappeared from the village, no one noticed. Even Tsunade, who studied under the same school, didn't expect that the previous time Orochimaru came to Xuan Che was the last time they met. A full month in the past. A piece of good news from the Uchiha family. The wife of the patriarch Uchiha Fugaku, Uchiha Makoto, is pregnant. Xuan Che also learned of this from Nawaki, Uchiha Itachi. Xuan Che said inwardly, to be honest, Xuan Che didn't want to comment on this man. The complexity of human nature is fully reflected in the person Uchiha Itachi. But at least, Xuan Che doesn't want him to be like Uchiha Itachi if he has a son in the future. In that case, he would shoot him on the wall. In comparison, the second column of the pretenders who pretended to be a master of the collection is still slightly normal. And just when Uchiha Fugaku was excited about the joy of his son. Suddenly, I remembered the genius of my own clan who was placed in Orochimaru. He hopes to train Uchiha Shisui to be a deputy who can assist his son. I just wanted to inform you of this, Fugaku. Facing Uchiha Fugaku who asked himself about Uchiha Shisui's situation, Sarutobi Hiruzen exhaled heavily and frowned. Shisui. Unfortunately, he passed away. It was Orochimaru who did it. When our investigators arrived, he had already defected. Advertisement. Next to a small stream in the outskirts of Konoha. On the campfire, a giant roasted wild boar that is comparable to a hippopotamus is being held with a wooden fork. Xuan Che added a stick of firewood to the bonfire, thinking badly that Uchiha Fugaku is now at home, stubbing his feet, right? Suddenly, a shadow slowly walked out of the woods behind. It is Orochimaru who has been designated by Konoha as rebellious ninja. Ms. Sarutobi's political methods are more powerful than I thought. It completely transferred Uchiha's hatred to me. When he said this, even Orochimaru's tone couldn't help but bring a bit of anger. What's the situation? Xuan Che, who pulled off a pork leg, turned his back to Orochimaru and said. Did Akatsuki take you? Unexpectedly, the three imps Jiraiya adopted at the time have become somewhat more capable now. But unfortunately, this time you didn't do what you wanted, Xuan Che-kun. They did not agree. After all, my current identity is rebellion, and I once proposed to kill them. But I didn't expect that one of the little ghosts actually has the same eyes as Sage of Six Paths. Now Orochimaru, who has been branded with Konoha Rebellion, Xuan Che recommended him to join Akatsuki when he left. But Orochimaru's narrative seems to be unsuccessful. But it's not surprising. The leader of Akatsuki's organization is still Yahiko, and Nagato is not yet blackened. It was indeed impossible for them to take in Orochimaru, who had become rebellious and wanted to kill them. It's really a pity, but in that case, can you help me monitor Akatsuki? Xuan Che threw the last bone to the drooling ninjas next to him, then turned to Orochimaru and said. They will become the existence that changes the direction of this world in the future. Haha, even if you don't say that, the fact that the red-haired kid owns Rinnegan has completely aroused my interest. Orochimaru licked his tongue. Advertisement suddenly, Orochimaru turned around and asked again. By the way, Xuan Che-kun, when is your Konoha collapse plan going to be executed? I can't wait anymore. In the original book, for what purpose Orochimaru attacked Konoha, Xuan Che, the traveler, didn't figure it out. One of the reasons is that Sasuke is not fake, but when Kakashi sealed the seal of heaven for Sasuke, he could completely take Sasuke away, but he didn't do so. Afterwards, apart from killing Sarutobi Hiruzen at the cost of a pair of hands, he also did something to shake Konoha's foundation. I don't know what he wants to do, but now, he really wanted to destroy Konoha. After all, although he was cold like a snake, he was still a human, not a snake. Being rectified and going back without revenge is not his Orochimaru style. I'm more anxious than you, but this is an urgent matter. You who dealt with the elders should understand better than me. Xuan Che asked rhetorically. If you have a chance to give Sarutobi some gifts, remember to tell me. After Orochimaru sneered twice, he stepped back and disappeared completely into the forest. In just one day, a piece of news spread throughout the streets and alleys of Konoha village. Walking on the street, both ordinary villagers and ninjas have panicked or incredible expressions on their faces. When Namikaze Minato took Kakashi, Obito, and Asuma back to the village to complete a sea-level mission, he soon heard from the village mouth, Master Orochimaru defected. The genius of the Uchiha family is dead. Who will fourth Hokage be after that? Wait for the discussion topic. Hello, what's the situation? Obito was so frightened that he couldn't believe it. We only left the village for one day, what happened? Kakashi was incredulous, Mr. Orochimaru, rebel, defect? Asuma frowned. He was looking for Shi Rihong's figure, hopeless. Namikaze Minato's face was unprecedentedly solemn, and immediately after the order was disbanded, he rushed to the administrative building. Chapter 60. 10 days passed. Xuan Che, as always, after the end of a day of practice, with dust and sweat stains all over his body. Dragging a wild boar through the forest road, uncle. Suddenly, a little man with the same white hair as Xuan Che shouted. Xuan Che turned his head and looked. In the next scene, Namikaze Minato ran out of the woods with 55 Kai and Runtu in embarrassment. What about another one? Xuan Che asked. Asuma, there was an accident. Namikaze Minato said guiltily. Did you lose to Orochimaru? Xuan Che is a little unbelievable. Namikaze Minato is leading the Minato class to perform S-level missions this time. As Konoha's representative, officially signed an alliance agreement with Sanagakure. Although it was an S-level task, it was actually just sending the agreement document, asking Fang to sign it, and then taking it back. After all, it's errands. But the level of the ninja mission is not only linked to the difficulty, but also the meaning behind it. This kind of task concerning the alliance relationship between nations is enough to be classified as S-level. Of course, Sarutobi Hiruzen is absolutely selfish in doing this. Add a glorious stroke to your son's ninja resume. I have participated in S-level missions when I was only 10 years old. Look, how awesome. When Namikaze Minato, Kakashi, and Obito heard the name of Orochimaru from Xuan Che, his complexion couldn't help but change suddenly. They were indeed attacked by Orochimaru when they returned to Konoha from the Kingdom of Wind. But how did Xuan Che know? There is no need to be so surprised. He told me before he left that he would ask Master Hokage for this in the future. He will be the only one to think about it. Advertisement. Namikaze Minato, who Xuan Che explained this way, was dubious. At first it seemed to be no problem, but when I think about it carefully, there are many loopholes. And then? How did he beat you? Xuan Che is also very interested in this matter. The reason why Orochimaru is so accurate in ambush is of course because Xuan Che told him about it. But Xuan Che didn't think it would be possible from the beginning. But never expected the result to be the opposite. Namikaze Minato smiled bitterly. I and Orochimaru-sama, no. Orochimaru's experience gap is still too big. Explain briefly. It is the loss of the difference in combat experience. Orochimaru's goal at the beginning was Asuma, but at the beginning, he pretended to target Namikaze Minato. So Namikaze Minato asked the 3 disciples to leave first. However, he did not expect that Orochimaru had arranged his subordinates on the escape route long ago, and Asuma was easily taken away. After the incident, he didn't entangle with Minato anymore and disappeared without a trace. Regarding the skills of escape, Orochimaru thinks he is in this world of ninja, and he has never been afraid of anyone. Kakashi, Obito, go back and rest first. I'll report this to Master Hokage. Namikaze Minato feels stressed. For losing Mr. Hokage's son, he has no confidence to bear this responsibility. Don't worry, you will be fine. Xuan Che patted Namikaze Minato on the shoulder. Namikaze Minato smiled ugly than crying, only when Xuan Che was comforting herself. However, Xuan Che's next sentence made him tremble with fright. The Third Ninja World War is about to begin. Master Hokage, who dare not go to the battlefield, has to rely on you. In a word, the Namikaze Minato trio of masters and apprentices was shocked again. How do you know that the Third Ninja War is coming? Akasago no Sasori is ready to do it too, right? Xuan Che thought. Now that the Kingdom of Fire and the Kingdom of Wind formally form an alliance, Konoha and Sand Shinobi will not be able to fight again in the short term. Advertisement. Under such circumstances, he must not be able to avenge White Fang. It is not surprising that the anger is transferred to Third Kazekage, who advocates an Konoha alliance. The establishment of an alliance between the Country of Fire and the Country of Wind is undoubtedly a good thing for Konoha. But immediately another news came out. Mr. Hokage's second son, Sarutobi Asuma, was captured by Orochimaru. The eldest son was killed in the previous war, and the second son was taken away by the Renin disciple. Many people began to sympathize with this over 50-year-old Hokage. Xuan Che did not know whether Sarutobi Hiruzen held Namikaze Minato accountable. But at least it can be concluded that he absolutely dare not rectify Namikaze Minato like White Fang in the original book. This is the only card in his hand now, you said. Sarutobi old man and Lake Biwa, can the old woman have another one? In the night, Xuan Che suddenly felt bad and asked with a smile at Tsunade below. Master Feng Ying is missing. Is there an emergency, so I went out temporarily? With the strength of Master Feng, it is impossible for anything to happen. The country of wind. Sanagakure, who has just signed an alliance agreement with Konoha, is in a mess. Even Chio, who had decided to retire, was forced to come back. Although she resented that third Kazekage had formed an alliance with Konoha, she was unable to avenge her son and daughter-in-law. But the current Sanagakure needs the strongest wind shadow to preside over the overall situation. Third generation is the strongest wind shadow in history. It is not so easy to accident. As a veteran, Chi and I spoke to appease everyone, but this matter cannot be let the people below, especially other countries know, to avoid unnecessary panic, you know? Third Kazekage, missing. It also means that the Third Ninja World War will officially break out. Chapter 61. Hitaki Tsukumo, Orochimaru told me, it was your brother Hitaki Xuan Che who killed my eldest brother. In an underground stronghold in the northern border area of the Country of Fire. Asuma in the cell saw Hitaki Tsukumo and Orochimaru walking up, and instantly rushed up angrily, shouting at him through the cage. This is one of the secret bases established by Orochimaru. Hokage-sama's son. It really was you. Even White Fang, seeing this scene, couldn't help swallowing nervously. Asuma-kun, I advise you to save some energy. Orochimaru squinted at Asuma in the cell. After a cold reminder, he turned to Hitaki Tsukumo and smiled. What then? Mr. Shuamao, Xuan Che-kun called you. There should be something to give to me, right? After a few seconds of silence, Hitaki gave a small scroll to Orochimaru. Pulling open the scroll, his eyes flashed quickly over the content. Orochimaru smiled. Ms. Sarutobi was so angry that he even dispatched Anbu to hunt me down. As expected, the previous agreement was invalidated. Originally, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Orochimaru agreed to let him defect. Although Konoha declared that he was rebellious, but he would not really send a tracking force. But Orochimaru's kidnapping of Asuma obviously angered Sarutobi Hiruzen. Now the Hand really treats him as a traitor, and dispatches Anbu's elite troops to hunt down. And the content of the scroll of Xuan Che is to remind Orochimaru to avoid it. It's almost time to move the base. Orochimaru put the scroll on the candlelight of the oil lamp on the side, and burned it to death. At the same time, against the backdrop of the fire, he glanced at Hitaki with evil eyes and said, But I didn't expect that Xuan Che-kun would actually let you send me a letter. It seems that he will have a major action. Xuan Che intends to take advantage of the upcoming Ninja World War to drag Master 3rd Hokage down, and Tsunade will take over as the destination of 4th generation. Tsukumo Hitaki frowned and responded. Asuma, who was in prison, widened her eyes in astonishment, and couldn't believe her ears. This is a bit difficult, right? After burning the scroll completely, Orochimaru touched his chin, resting his cheek with one hand and said, You and I know how much Mr. Sarutobi paid in order to secure Hokage's position. Ask him to surrender Hokage's position, unless he is dead. Advertisement, he said you just need to wait for the news. Hitaki Tsukumo responded. Hey, Mr. Tsukumo won't be unable to deal with Teacher Sarutobi? Will he still have any expectations? Noting the tangles in Hitaki's eyes, Orochimaru sneered and sneered. I just didn't expect Konoha's water to be so deep. Hitaki Shumao's tone was a little bit sorrowful. Especially Xuan Che asked himself to help send a letter to Orochimaru after learning all this. Hitaki Tsukumo just felt that his worldview was shattered. Orochimaru smiled even more. It seems that White Fang's brain is more shocking than his strength. You won't succeed. Asuma in the cell started to go crazy again. Orochimaru raised his hand irritably, and Asuma's face changed suddenly, rolling all over the floor in pain. The weird black curse, like a tadpole script, spread all over his body sharply. The news of 3rd Kazecage's disappearance spread like wildfire in the world of ninja in a very short period of time. After all, it is impossible to hide such a big thing from a shadow disappearance. And many of the major ninja villages who heard about it started to move around. Among them, it includes the militants located in the northernmost part of the ninja world, Cloud Shinobi Village, the Country of Thunder. Take advantage of the country that sends troops now. The big fist of the 3rd Raikage sandbag, known as the strongest Raikage, hit the desk surface, almost breaking the entire table. For some reason, I feel that every village's 3rd generation project likes to be named the strongest. 3rd Hokage is the strongest Hokage ever. 3rd Kazekage is the strongest wind shadow in history. 3rd Raikage is also the strongest Raikage ever. But 3rd Raikage, the strongest, is definitely worthy of the name. The strongest spear matches the strongest shield, the absolute cage-level pinnacle. Advertisement under his governance, the strength of Cloud Shinobi Village has undoubtedly reached its peak since the establishment of the village. Except for himself, his son I and his son Killer B all possess cage-level strength. Among them, Killer B is almost a perfect master of the power of 8 tails. The only pity is that Jinchuriki by Wooden Golem is still too young. Although it also blended well with the tail beast, it was a bit early on the battlefield. Dad, San Shinobi, do we need to fight? There is nothing good to get at all? The future 4th Hokage asked I puzzled. He has no objection to fight. But even if war starts, it should target the wealthy Konoha or Rock Shinobi. Is it necessary for San Shinobi where birds don't shit? There is nothing to grab, right? San Shinobi is now an ally with Konoha. If we attack San Shinobi, would you say Konoha will reinforce it? 3rd Raikage asked his son back. It will happen out of 10. After thinking for 2 seconds, 4th Raikage nodded. At this time, the Raikage assistant next to the Earth platform said, Master Raikage will lead a troop to raid the Kingdom of Wind and make a posture the Cloud Shinobi village is going to fight Sand Shinobi. At this time, Konoha, as an ally, will definitely shoot the army to reinforce Sand Shinobi. At this time, the northern part of the Country of Fire must be lowered for us. At that time, you and Bai will be together. Fourth Raikage suddenly realized and said in surprise. That's the case. On the surface, it was an attack on Sand Shinobi, but it was actually to divert Konoha's attention and attack the Country of Fire, right? Good. Third Raikage nodded in relief and grinned. The Country of Wind is a ghost place with sand everywhere. There is nothing to be happy about to win. The Country of Fire, rich in oil, is what we need most. Even if Konoha Master is like a cloud, but what is his strongest Raikage afraid of? Under his leadership, Third Raikage is confident that Cloud Shinobi can be close to Konoha. Chapter 62 Hokage Administration Building, the highest conference room. At the moment, the meeting room convened all high-level representatives of the present Konoha. Except for the F4 Elders Group, which has been in charge of Konoha's highest authority for nearly 30 years. The patriarchs of the major ninja tribes, such as Uchiha Fugaku, Hyuga Heishi, Naraluku, etc., were also summoned here. Everyone must be aware of the disappearance of Third Raikage. It is extremely rare that Sarutobi Hiruzen did not take out a cigarette and took a sip and said solemnly. The key issue now is that Cloud Shinobi's Third Raikage personally led troops to raid Sand Shinobi, and everyone knows that our Nation of Fire has just established an alliance with Sand Shinobi's Nation of Wind not long ago. Under such circumstances, we must reinforce. The anger in Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart is not light. Orochimaru, the rebel, kidnapped his son. Obviously, this is revenge on oneself. The only bloodline was captured, and Sarutobi Hiruzen was naturally unable to abide by the promise that he would not really hunt down. He immediately decided to dispatch Anbu to investigate Orochimaru's whereabouts. However, as soon as Anbu's people walked with their front feet, news came from the back feet. Said Sand Shinobi's Third Raikage is missing, and then, Cloud Shinobi Village's Third Raikage personally led the men and horses, and news of breaking into the Kingdom of Wind also came non-stop. Everyone can feel that the start of the Third Ninja World War has become a reality. Under such circumstances, Sarutobi Hiruzen has no time to care about Orochimaru. Only a small team can be set up to continue investigating Orochimaru's whereabouts, and most of them are transferred back to Konoha. Discuss how to reinforce Sand Shinobi. The black knives of the Hitaki family and the white Fang. I'm afraid they are not suitable. Naraluju, the think tank, was the first to speak. Reinforce the Country of the Wind. It is inevitable to deal with Sand Shinobi's ninjas. The two of them had forged a lot of ties with Sand Shinobi in the last Ninja World War. I think it's better to avoid meeting these two parties as much as possible. Hitaki Sakumo killed the son and daughter-in-law of the elder Sand Shinobi Chiyo. And Hitaki Xuan Che cut down the first level of the second Raikage Sand Gate. If these two people run to reinforce Sanagakure, the ghost knows what kind of chemical reaction will occur. Yes, the people who participated in the war with Sand Shinobi in the last war were not suitable. Advertisement Yamanaka Hai also said. As soon as these words came out, everyone's eyes focused on Uchiha, Inuzuka, and other families that did not fight against Sand Shinobi in the last ninja battle. In that case, Minato will be the commander-in-chief, Fugaku will be the deputy commander, and Sand Shinobi should be led by reinforcements? Sarutobi Hiruzen turned his eyes to Uchiha Fugaku. And Uchiha Fugaku's face was not so pretty. After Uchiha Shisui, dead, the bad relationship between Uchiha and Hokage faction increased again. So not long ago when he heard the news that Sarutobi Hiruzen's son Asuma had been abducted by Orochimaru. Excited to eat 2 more bowls of rice. And now, letting himself be a deputy to a little devil who is less than 20, how can he be happy? But no matter what his mood, Uchiha Fugaku didn't dare to blatantly violate Sarutobi Hiruzen's meaning, and could only nod his head. If possible, can Tsunade-sama accompany you? Although he took orders, Uchiha Fugaku still had to fight for the family's interests. The existence of Tsunade can increase the chances of winning for soldiers on the battlefield by at least 50%. This, if you can persuade her, of course it's okay. Sarutobi Hiruzen hesitated for a few seconds, and finally nodded in agreement. To be honest, he wanted to use this war to allow Namikaze Minato to do more to suppress the arrogance of Xuan Che and others. Putting Tsunade on the battlefield is undoubtedly a chance for her to do meritorious service. However, Tsunade's medical skills are too high, and even Uchiha, Senju's nemesis, has to rely on her. He Sarutobi Hiruzen is no longer willing and can't find any reason to refuse Tsunade on the battlefield. On the battlefield? Not interested. 2 hours after the meeting. Uchiha Mikoto, the pregnant wife of the Uchiha patriarch, found her and pleaded. But what he got was Tsunade's irritable response. After the Senju clan suffered misfortune in the Second Ninja War, she had planned to leave. To be able to stay till the last moment is the ultimate benevolence. Do you want to work hard this time? Dream it. Nawaki next to him scratched his head and said nothing. Advertisement Uchiha Mikoto is classmates with him, so I found him and wanted to get along. Master Tsunade, this. Tsunade's Uchiha Mikoto looked impatient and couldn't persuade Tsunade's Uchiha Mikoto, so he turned his pitiful gaze to Xuan Che. Noting Uchiha Mikoto's pleading look at him, Xuan Che said that you, a pregnant woman, shouldn't think of yourself too much. But when he knew that Nawaki and Uchiha Mikoto were classmates, Xuan Che gave 8 trigrams. I thought of these two people, one Senju and Uchiha. According to the routine of the Neon Light novel, why didn't it succeed? No, Tsunade, you should go. Xuan Che walked over. Tsunade's beautiful eyes suddenly stared at the boss, as if saying, are you talking to other women? Upon seeing Tsunade's eyes, Xuan Che guessed that she was jealous again. Quickly explained. If you don't go, the first contribution of this war will become Minato. Don't forget that I intend to make you the 4th Hokage after this war. Uchiha Makoto looked startled. Xuan Che and the others, they actually have this plan. Didn't I do enough in the last war? Tsunade puffed his cheeks, a little unconvinced. People are all fish. They will only remember the most recent events. Otherwise, how could the name, Strong Hokage, fall to 3rd generation? With Xuan Che's words, Tsunade was completely speechless. After all, the former 3rd Hokage counted it down, and, the strongest, couldn't possibly have Sarutobi Hiruzen's turn. Then why does this nickname belong to him? In addition to the deliberate propaganda of the elders, it is not because most people in Ninja Village now can't afford the things of Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama at that time. No one remembers the past, and everyone only cares about the present. Aren't you going? Finally, Tsunade couldn't help but ask again. This guy doesn't want to be a salted fish at home. How is it possible that I will deal with the Cloud Shinobi army that will attack the northern part of the Country of Fire afterwards? Xuan Che said that if you don't hurry up and show off on the battlefield after getting new power, readers will hang the dog author and fight. Chapter 63. What do you mean by this, Master Xuan Che? Isn't Cloud Shinobi attacking Sunagakure? How could he sneak attack on the Country of Fire? Listening to what Xuan Che said just now, the 3 big loli of Nohara Lin on the side looked incredible. Cloud Shinobi is going to sneak attack on the Land of Fire? Are they not marching towards the Kingdom of Wind? Use your mind to think about it, just the ghost place of Sand Shinobi. Will Cloud Shinobi's 5 big and 3 rough savages look good? Xuan Che tapped on the 3 lolis' heads one after another. Cloud Shinobi Village, which did not participate in the Second Ninja War, is in its strongest period. It is not surprising that it dares to start the war first. But choosing the target as the Country of Wind is outrageous. You can guess it with a little thought. The Land of Fire, which is rich and oily and closer, will not fight, and the Land of the Wind, which is farther away and impoverished. Although the past generations of Raikage are all freaks with muscles in their brains, they are not so stupid. In other words, Cloud Shinobi is attacking Sunagakure on the surface, but when Konoha's reinforcements are all transferred to the Kingdom of Wind, they will carry out a sneak attack from the north. Shi Rihong suddenly realized, then you have to inform Hokage's talent right away. Not to mention, Xuan Che grabbed Shi Rihong's little head and stopped her movement. Why? Shiri's big red eyes were full of incomprehensible questions. Don't let Hokage-sama make more mistakes. How can you Mr. Tsunade sit in Hokage's seat? Xuan Che smiled badly. It is not difficult to just help Konoha win the 3rd Ninja World War. He, Hitaki Tsukumo, Tsunade, who did not participate in the 3rd Ninja War at all in the original works, can immediately rewrite the situation once they participate in the battle. But just victory is not enough, or it won't work if you win a big victory. That would only be the same as the last Ninja World War. The people on the front line desperately, their elders group F4 drank tea and burned their heads in the back. Must find a way to make Sarutobi Hiruzen stumbling. Allow him to abdicate, and now, failing to see through Cloud Shinobi's sneak attack plan is his first mistake. Uchiha Makoto was completely dumbfounded by listening. Her husband has also coveted Hokage's position for a long time. But because of lack of strength, he has been powerless. But after hearing about Xuan Che's plan today, she completely understood it. What my husband lacks is not only strength, but also strategy. Advertisement with Xuan Che's trick alone, Sarutobi Hiruzen can be eaten to death. A powerful person is not enough to be fearful, but at the same time as being powerful, you still have no bones left. Then we can only hide a little bit. Makoto, after you go back, you should know what to say or not. Nawaki suddenly spoke, reminding his old classmates. I won't say it. Uchiha Makoto was frightened and shivered. After a bow, I walked away quickly, and I was so scared, I hope I haven't moved my fetus. Finally set off, on the 2nd day, the main entrance of Konoha village. Obito, who followed the teacher Namikaze Minato, said excitedly. It's a miracle not to be late. Kakashi squinted at Obito with contemptuous eyes. Of course he knew the reason why this 10,000 years came so early today. Because Tsunade-sama will always be the highest person in charge of the medical department and rush to the battlefield of the Kingdom of Wind with them. And the 3 disciples of Tsunade, including Rin Nohara, will naturally go together. Finally, I can perform missions with my goddess. Obito was so excited that he didn't fall asleep all night. He didn't know he thought he was going for an outing. Oh, coming. Suddenly Obito's eyes lit up and he waved and shouted. Lin. This way. 4 shadows came slowly, including Obito's goddess Lin Nohara. Master Tsunade, I'm going to trouble you again this time. Namikaze Minato bowed his head and saluted. It's better for you if I don't come, lest I take credit for it with you. Tsunade's tone was prickly. No, I never have this thought. Namikaze Minato hurriedly waved. Tsunade did not continue to ridicule the other party. The reason why her attitude towards Namikaze Minato was not good was simply because the other party was too close to the old man Sarutobi, which made her unhappy. Hey, Lin, we are going to perform the task together next. Obito smirked. Advertisement Nohara Lin responded with a smile as always. Nausea. Kakashi spit out on the side. Here, Obito. Nohara Lin took out a white medical kit from behind and handed it to Obito. Send it to me. Obito's face was slightly red. Nohara Lin hesitated for 2 seconds and nodded slightly. Just as Obito was like a spring breeze, Lin's next sentence fell on his head like a bolt from the blue sky. Well, it's for you and Kakashi, please do it. Master Xuan Che. At this time, Namikaze Minato and others noticed Xuan Che, who was walking leisurely with a hip flask, and immediately shouted. You're welcome, I'm just Genin, here to see you off. As soon as the word Xuan Che, Genin, came out, everyone in the capital couldn't help falling into a drop of cold sweat. It seems to be really, well, Lin, what do you mean by saying you want to cheer? Obito asked puzzledly. Sorry, I will not act with you this time, I will stay in the village with Master Xuan Che. Rin Nohara put her hands together and apologized to Obito. Obito was petrified in an instant, it was the wrong payment after all. Uncle, this is. A trace of confusion also appeared on Kakashi's face, and he looked at Xuan Che with a frown. It is very troublesome to explain the reason, and I will tell you when I have a chance. Xuan Che is ambiguous, he couldn't say that it was to prevent Uchiha Madara from killing this girl. So if you keep her by your side, it will be convenient to save her a little life, right? No one believes it, and thinks of myself as a neuropathy. For Yi Yuan Lin, a gentle girl, watching her become Uchiha Madara's pawn, Xuan Che still feels a little unbearable. That's why I chose this way, but Xuan Che is also a little curious. If Lin is not dead, what about Obito, Blacken, Chapter 64. Then, Kakashi, Obito, and Hong and Shizune, you must be careful on the battlefield. After Lin finally waved to several classmates, she followed Xuan Che's pace and left. Obito looked at the back of the goddess who was following Xuan Che, looking through his eyes, and kept whispering. Why don't you keep other people? I just want to keep Lin. It's hard. Could it be that Mr. Xuan Che also treats Lin? You are too exaggerated. Idiot. Kakashi couldn't help but twitch his horns. They are all guarded against their uncles. Two people who are 20 years apart are impossible to think about, okay. Wait. Kakashi suddenly noticed Yurihong's sour expression next to him, and he couldn't help taking a breath. It feels as if it's not impossible, when the two teams of Xuan Che and Tsunade leave in different directions. About 3 minutes later, White Zetsu's head with only the left half of his face sneaked out of the corner of the Konoha wall. Looking at the back of Rin Nohara and Uchiha Obito, who have gone away only the size of a sesame point, White Zetsu said to himself in distress. Ah, it's not going well, go back and report to Madara. A few days later, Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was in the back, received the message. Konoha reinforcements led by Namikaze Minato and Tsunade successfully arrived at San Shinobi's military camp stationed in the northern part of the Kingdom of Wind. And after arriving, he immediately joined forces with San Shinobi and fought Cloud Shinobi. However, the results surprised him. He had high hopes and even Namikaze Minato, who had been designated as 4th Hokage, lost to 3rd Raikage. Do you want to send reinforcements, Master Hokage? Sergeant Nara Shikajiu asked for instructions. No need. The color of consternation on Sarutobi Hiruzen's face quickly disappeared, and he calmly said. We have given this amount of reinforcements to the end of our benevolence. There is no need to put too much combat power for Sanagakure. Although it has established an alliance with San Shinobi. But Sarutobi Hiruzen is not yet Madara to help them fight this battle. Give some reinforcements a little, just fool around. Even if they lose, let Namikaze Minato and the others quickly withdraw. As long as he doesn't affect his own interests, Sarutobi Hiruzen doesn't bother to care what Cloud Shinobi does in the Kingdom of Wind. Advertisement. The goal of Cloud Shinobi is probably not San Shinobi. Naralugia's face fell with sweat, and she thought to herself. Although he doesn't have the god's perspective like Xuan Che's, but with his mind, he also noticed that Cloud Shinobi's attack on the Kingdom of Wind was something wrong. There is no reason why the neighboring and prosperous country of fire will not fight, and those who travel through mountains and rivers will fight the poor and clinking country of wind. But when I thought of the phrase, don't say things that shouldn't be said, that the other party put in my ear when I met Xuan Che yesterday. Naraluju was so frightened that she swallowed her inner advice back into her stomach. After vaguely guessing what Xuan Che probably wanted to do, Naraluji talked with Yamanaka Yuichi and Akamichi's two best friends Bingzuya for a whole night. Unanimously decided to continue to adopt a neutral attitude. Don't be involved in this matter. One is the old fox who can kill the Senju clan who created Konoha. One is the first level monster that can penetrate into the enemy village and take away the shadow. They can't afford to offend either. You can only do your best, don't offend anyone. As expected. On the other hand, when Xuan Che received the news that Namikaze Minato had lost the first battle, several days had passed. After all, there is no sophisticated intelligence system like Sarutobi Hiruzen, and he did not ask Tsunade to send information back to himself every day. It's not necessary. When he knew it, most of the ninjas in the village basically knew it. After learning of this, Xuan Che did not show any expressions of surprise on his face. 3rd Hokage's strongest name is indeed suspected of pouring pork. The strongest of 3rd Raikage is worthy of the name. The strongest shield is an existence that even the prince of the future generations can't break through the spiral shuriken. Although he has mastered Flying Thunder God, the strongest mobile phone attacking skill is only Big Ball Rasengan's Namikaze Minato. It is impossible to crack the lightning-style chakra mode of third Raikage. But as third Raikage from there, it's a pity. Knowing that third Raikage was on the battlefield of the Kingdom of Wind, Xuan Che couldn't help but feel a little lost. In the original book, Naruto defeated third Raikage in the dirty state, which has a lot of luck. Moreover, in the state of impure world reincarnation, third Raikage, it is not easy to say whether it played 100% during his lifetime. Advertisement. I also want to experience what it feels like to see the new sword on the strongest shield. Master Xuan Che, eat oranges. Nohara Lin, who seemed to be doing nothing because of Tsunade's absence, handed a plucked orange to Xuan Che. The silk is so unstripped, Xuan Che asked with a glance. Even with Elam's good temper, her eyes widened when she heard this. Do you want to strip it? I'm so angry, but I still have to stay elegant. Just as Nohara Lin was about to obediently peel off the silk a little bit, an afterimage suddenly descended to the opposite side of Xuan Che. Xuan Che, there was an accident, Hitaki said with a solemn expression. Here we go. Xuan Che smiled slightly. Yi Yuan Lin's hand shredded half of the orange stuffed into the entrance. Some slurred words. Suddenly, Lin. Yes. Yi Yuan Lin also put away the little emotions in her heart, and followed Xuan Che closely. It's the AB group, right? Xuan Che and Hitaki Shumao walked side by side on the way to the village and asked sideways. Well, I and Killer B are coming so aggressively, they dispatched 5,000 troops directly. This is just the vanguard. Hitaki Tsukumo nodded. I am getting more and more afraid of being an enemy of you, Xuan Che, you have completely guessed it. Xuan Che himself said before that Cloud Shinobi's attack on the Kingdom of Wind is just a decoy, and the real target is the Kingdom of Fire. Xuan Che chuckled lightly without answering. He is not Narulugia's type of food that relies on his head. The main reason why I can see it so thoroughly is because I can understand the personalities of these people. That's why it is said that character determines fate. Xuan Che said again. Let them see who is the strongest combination in the ninja world, but maybe you don't need you. I alone will be enough to solve them all. It's easy to underestimate the enemy and suffer big losses. Hitaki Tsukumo reminded. Chapter 65. Tsunade's willingness to take the initiative to go to the battlefield is naturally a good thing, but it is because of this that it is strange that after that incident, she was still willing to fight for Konoha, which is really disturbing. What's more troublesome is Hitaki Xuan Che, he would be willing to obey Konoha's arrangement and go to the battlefield. You should have noticed something strange, right? Hiruzen. In the administrative building, in the meeting room of the elders, Danzo is questioning Sarutobi Hiruzen. The Cloud Shinobi army, led by the future 4th Raikage and 8 Tails Jinchuriki Killer B, is almost on the doorstep. Still worrying about this, it seems that when Konoha's collapse plan was planned, it is not unreasonable that the huge Konoha was left with only Sarutobi Hiruzen as a cage level. The doubts raised by Danzo are exactly what Sarutobi Hiruzen is worried about. After all, Sarutobi Hiruzen is not a virgin either. If two people weren't able to pee into the same pot all the time, how could he forgive each other's transgressions one after another? Hitaki Xuan Che, Tsunade. These two were supposed to be the least likely to obey the arrangement, and they actually chose to take the initiative to go to the front line. For most people, this is undoubtedly a good thing. 2 cage levels, one of which is also known as the medical master in the world. No matter how you think, it will greatly increase the winning rate of the war. But this is just the idea of a ninja. The idea of the F4 politician of the elders is another matter. What they think is, why did Xuan Che and Tsunade do this? What secrets are there behind them? If the current state of the war continues, Tsunade, who has made unspeakable feats in the 2nd and 3rd ninja wars in a row, will be the undisputed successor of 4th Hokage, not to mention that she still bears 1st Hokage, the blood of the granddaughter. Anekaharu's eyes flashed with cold light. Didn't Tsunade say that he is not interested in Hokage's location? Mitokado Homura gritted her teeth and asked, but the tone of saying this is more like self-comfort. The faces of the other 3 old men present suddenly change. Think about what they did to the Senju clan in the latter part of the 2nd Ninja War. If Tsunade is in the upper ranks, can their elders still have good fruit to eat? Don't forget, there is Hitaki Xuan Che beside her. Anekaharu looked coldly and said again, are there few troubles he did? The old man is not dead yet. Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression was ashamed. Advertisement. Although it is more than half 100 years old, I can feel that the combat effectiveness has declined significantly in the past 2 years. But he was still sitting in this Hokage's position. As long as you are alive, how dare those juniors dare? He even dared to kill your son, I'm afraid you wouldn't dare to do it. Shimura Danzo laughed and sneered. Well, in fact, Sarutobi Shinosuke was killed by Xuan Che, which is already a unified idea of the high level. After all, there are too many doubts, and the timing of Sarutobi Shinosuke's death is too coincidental. Only because they really have no evidence, and because of Xuan Che's strength, they dare not act rashly. But everyone agreed that Shinosuke was killed by Xuan Che. He dares to kill the son, but dad dare not do it? What's more, Xuan Che is not without the experience of killing shadows. Think about the fate of 2nd Kage. The elders of the elders group, the major ninja clan chiefs who stayed behind in the village have arrived in the meeting room. At this time, the voice of the guard ninja came from outside the door. What can you do? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked the 3 of them as they walked towards the meeting room. That kid's purpose is nothing more than to gain credit to establish Tsunade and himself in the village. Don't give him this opportunity. Danzo said coldly. Even though Tsunade has already been on the battlefield, as long as you sit in this position, she doesn't dare to grab it. After all, the Senju family princess still has to maintain some image. But, if there is a chance to eradicate the troubles forever, it is naturally better. Danzo added another sentence at the end. Everyone must also know that I, the son of 3rd Raikage and 8 Tails Jinchuriki Killer Bee, led the 5,000 Cloud Shinobi Vanguard, are fast approaching the northern region of our country of fire. In the big conference room, Sarutobi Hiruzen sat in the main seat and said, obviously, the previous 3rd Raikage led the army to attack the Kingdom of Wind was just a decoy, and their real goal was our country of fire. If the elders could detect this in time, wouldn't they be so embarrassed? Although the strength is only Chunin, there is the Nawaki Yin Yang Wei Dao, who is the head of the Senju family. The Sarutobi Hiruzen foursome draws a corner, but seeing that Nawaki was sitting next to Xuan Che and wanted to say something, he could only swallow it back into his stomach. Advertisement not to mention that this incident is their fault. The daimyo's order has arrived, and we must immediately send an army to resist. Uchiha Kaharu got up and quickly changed the subject, then took out a list and said, send 5,000 ninja army to fight north, Commander-in-Chief Shimura Danzo, Deputy Commander-in-Chief Nai. Puff. Xuan Che, who was holding up his teacup and taking a sip of tea, heard Uchiha Kaharu announce the list of people, and couldn't help but squirt out. In an instant, everyone's attention shifted from Uchiha Kaharu to Xuan Che. Excuse me, although Xuan Che wanted to suppress his smile. But the fact of helplessness is too funny, and the smile on his face can't be restrained. However, Nawaki, who is standing next to him, has already expressed Xuan Che's thoughts first, with a kind of yin and yang way. Master Danzo is the commander-in-chief? No way? What do you mean? Danzo asked grimly. I thought if it wasn't for the sake of you being the grandson of teacher Tobarama, a little Chunin, do you think you were qualified to sit here? No, I just think it's absolutely fine for Master Danzo to engage in tricks, but I'm afraid it won't work on the frontal battlefield to meet the enemy. Besides, have you fought in the ninja war? Nawaki grinned weirdly. What nonsense, the old man was in the first ninja war. In the first ninja war, you were just following Grandpa Tobarama's skins, right? The second ninja war did not go to the frontal battlefield at all, did you? Danzo immediately tried to refute in anger, but was dumbfounded by Nawaki's rhetorical questions. In the first ninja war, they were not enough, and Senju Tobarama was the main one. And for the second time, Konoha has already come out in large numbers, and there is no need for them to be dispatched, and you can win while lying down. Why should you stand? The patriarchs of Hyuga, Ino Shikacho and others couldn't help but stare at each other. Thinking about it carefully, the 4 members of the elders group seem to have never been on the frontal battlefield. Okay, Nawaki, stop here. Just when the F4 of the elders was flushed with anger, but didn't know how to refute it. Xuan Che stopped Nawaki. This made the F4 look of the elders group startled. Does this kid still speak for himself? But Master Danzo should rest in the back, you might be dazzling when you go to the battlefield. Chapter 66. But Master Danzo should rest in the back, you might be dazzling when you go to the battlefield. Xuan Che's words caused the Sarutobi Hiruzen group of 4 to almost spit out old blood. I thought that this kid had turned his S*X and would actually help them speak. As a result, when I opened my mouth, I was still familiar with the recipe and the original taste. Xuan Che thought for a while. In fact, many people said that the elders did not participate in the Ninja World War from the beginning to the end, which is really a bit wrong. At least in the original book, Yahiko died. Isn't there a reason behind Nagato Black and the Danzo got involved? Although it shows the war on the face, it seems that these 4 people do not have their share. But no matter how unexpectedly, Danzo would be the commander of the current line. The elders are crazy, isn't it? Master Hokage, we also think Master Danzo. No, it's not suitable, right? After Nara hesitated for a long time, she couldn't help but raised her hand in disapproval. After all, they are on the battlefield. One will be incompetent, exhausting the 3 armies. In the penultimate year of the Second Ninja War, didn't the Senju family stray into the enemy trap under Danzo's command? They are also afraid of repeating the mistakes of Senju. Danzo's face was darkened to the bottom of the pot, and he didn't expect these ninja clan chiefs to be so shameless one by one. Silently remember them on the little black books. This matter was decided after careful consideration by our elders. Mitokado Homura said, you can rest assured that everything we do is based on Konoha's interests. It is impossible to say that it is to prevent Xuan Che from making merits on the battlefield, so Danzo has to be assigned as the commander-in-chief to suppress him, right? In that case, why didn't Hokage-sama himself go to the battlefield? In terms of strength, Hokage-sama should be stronger. Otherwise, Grandpa Tobarama chose you instead of Danzo? Why? Nawaki started to add fuel to the fire again. In an instant, Danzo's eyes widened as if he was about to burst into flames, and his eyes full of resentment even hated Sarutobi Hiruzen. Back then, I thought that a moment of hesitation caused Mr. Tobarama to choose Hiruzen instead of himself. This is the pain of his life. Which pot of this kid doesn't open and mention which pot? I felt Danzo cast a hateful look at him. Advertisement. After Sarutobi Hiruzen scolded Nawaki inwardly, he coughed. As the jade of a village, you can't leave the village casually when it is not a last resort. This is also for Konoha's safety. Fart. Isn't 3rd Raikage also a shadow? Isn't it the first one to go to the front line? Nawaki almost jumped up from his seat in frustration and cursed. I have never seen such a brazen person. But Xuan Che next to him was pulled one step ahead of time. There are many things, you don't have to say it, Xuan Che said calmly. In his opinion, Nawaki's quick-talking behavior has no meaning at all. Since you hate each other so much, try to take revenge with actual actions. Then I will continue to announce the list. After being interrupted several times, Ekaharu finally found a chance to speak again, saying, Deputy Commander Nara Shikuhisa, Captain Hyuga Haishi of Unit 1, Unit 2. Before long, Ekaharu announced the end of the position arrangement. Xuan Che didn't get any specific military position. Originally, this thing was not worth any money. It is enough to be included in the dispatched personnel, and he is not good at commanding. But what surprised everyone was that Konoha's white fangtooth, Hitaki Tsukumo, is not included. Master Hokage, why is Master Shumo? Naralu asked for a long time. At present, Kirigakure and Iwagakure don't know how they will act. We can't use all the high-end combat power to play against Cloud Shinobi Village at once. Sarutobi Hiruzen's words are true, but only half. The other half of the reason is to separate the two brothers Xuan Che and Hitaki Shumo. The threat can be smaller. Can you figure out a way to kill the old pervert during this war away from Konoha? When this kid is separated from others by going out, can you find a chance to kill him? At this time, Xuan Che and Danzo both had two very similar thoughts in their hearts. They all wanted to take this opportunity to leave Konoha to kill each other. Anyway, during the war, after killing the opponent, just put the blame on Cloud Shinobi. Advertisement not to mention Xuan Che has done it once on Sarutobi Shinosuke. And Danzo secretly didn't know how many times he had done it. The Cloud Shinobi army led by I and Killer B has approached the northern border of the Fire Country infinitely. Time cannot be delayed. After mobilizing Konoha's 5,000 men and horses in just one day and one night, there was no spare time, and he set off immediately. Master Xuan Che, be careful of that Shimura Danzo, my parents are. At the entrance of the village, seeing off for Xuan Che, Nawaki quietly glanced at the forefront of the troops. Danzo, in a standard Konoha shinobi costume, whispered. The old pervert is really good at conspiracy and tricks. I know that some old bachelors can also rank in the top 5. Xuan Che also glanced at Danzo and said, even with the perspective of God, in my opinion, the person who plays Yin in the Hokage world can beat Danzo. I'm afraid there are only Black and Obito, Uchiha Madara, Black Zetsu these elders. In the next second, Xuan Che turned around and smiled lightly. However, he always overestimates himself. In the original book, Danzo always feels that he is the chosen son who can bring changes to this world of ninja. As everyone knows, he's just a backer. Are you going to kill him? Hitaki asked Xuan Che in a low voice when he spotted an opportunity that the others hadn't noticed. He already knew that Sarutobi Shinosuke died at the hands of Xuan Che. And this time I went to the northern battlefield with Danzo, which was so similar to the last time. It is hard for Hitaki Shumo to believe that Xuan Che will not repeat the same tricks. The old thing 80% also has this idea, it depends on which of us finds the opportunity first. Xuan Che's heart was very clear. This group of old things who like to sit in the back and enjoy their achievements suddenly took the initiative to go to the battlefield. There's absolutely no way for them to have any good intentions. It just so happens that you can also take advantage of this. P.S. It should be on shelves at 0 o'clock tonight. All the way to this day, I really thank Oni-chan for their support. Would you please make a first order even if you want to get fat? I would like to express my sincere thanks for more than one touch. I like it the most. Chapter 67. In order to take care of Genin's speed, Konoha sent 5,000 reinforcements to the northern border almost at a very slow speed northward. If you change to Jonin or Cage level speed, it will take 2 to 3 days at most to arrive. At the current rate, it will take at least 10 days. Puff. Suddenly, Xuan Che couldn't help but let out a sneer. Master Xuan Che, what are you laughing at? The big lowly Nohara Lin next to her asked curiously, tilting her head. It's nothing, I just think that the top leader of the route will wear an ordinary ninja uniform. In my memory, this is the first time I have seen it. Xuan Che couldn't hide his smile. His deepest impression of Danzo was that he was sticking a cane and wrapped himself with a zongzi, transforming himself into an inhuman and ghostly old pervert image. The second is the grey vest with uniform Anbu and roots. This is the first time I have seen someone wearing Konoha Shinobi's standard attire. Nohara Lin is still a little at a loss, she doesn't even know what organization, root, is. People behind, don't whisper. Danzo, who was walking in the front, suddenly spoke. Xuan Che was too lazy to refute this old pervert. But according to Orochimaru, the old man still kept in touch with him. Sure enough, is the research on Hashirama cells still going on? These two people don't both want to kill each other in their hearts, right? Naraluju, who was walking a little later, murmured inwardly. This scene, no matter how you look at it, feels highly similar to the last time Xuan Che and Sarutobi Shinosuke acted together. Naraluju can guarantee. If Shimura Danzo, or Xuan Che invites the other party to act with him. After that, there is only one person who can come back alive. Which side are you on, Luju? Yamanaka Hai next to him quietly whispered in the ear of Jiyu. This is no longer familiar with the extent to which we can interfere, it is just to turn a deaf ear to. But if I insist on choosing, I think it's better for Master Xuan Che. Nara Deer used a mosquito-sized volume Kaido for a long time. Oh why? Yamanaka Hai couldn't help being curious. Advertisement, Master Tsunade acts more upright than Master Hokage. Whether it is Xuan Che or Danzo, in Naruto's heart, they are all equated with the two character picture, vicious. Naruto doesn't want to provoke either, he can't afford to provoke either. But Hokage, who was behind the two, asked him to choose. He still chooses Tsunade among other things, at least his style is more open and honest than Sarutobi Hiruzen. Stay alive and rest assured. Don't be afraid of being scammed like the Senju family that day in the future. Konoha is a small town on the northern border of the Fire Country. The battlefields of wars between big countries are often small countries. For example, in the Second Ninja War Konoha, San Shinobi, the Three Kingdoms fought, the battlefield was mainly the Rain Country. Konoha and San Shinobi fought, and the battlefield was a small country between the two countries. The middle country between the Country of Fire and the Country of Thunder is the Country of Tang. This is the country where Hidan came from, but Cloud Shinobi's raid was too unprepared. As a result, when Sarutobi Hiruzen and the others realized it, Unokuni had already been occupied by Cloud Shinobi through the gates of the Fire Country. Konoha had a bad start. How's it going? As the commander-in-chief Danzo just resisted, the first thing was to ask the Anbu ninja who was in charge of investigating the enemy's situation. Wearing a fox mask, with a ninja dog by his side, it is clear that the Anbu member from the Inuzuka family knelt on one knee. Yes, Cloud Shinobi's offensive is very fierce. In addition to organizing a large-scale frontal charge on average in 10 days, the commanders of the frontal charge are mainly the son of 3rd Raikage, I, and 8 Tails Jinchuriki Killer B. This Anbu from the Inuzuka family continued. At the same time, they continued to send small-scale classified troops in a vain way to enter our Country of Fire from a small road. 2 days ago, the nose of our Inuzuka family ninja dog detected and stopped them, but they were also killed and injured. The leader of the team is a magnet-style ninja with a bloodline limit. According to the investigation, his name is Troy. He is extremely strong and has the strength of the Jonin elite. Assault troops. Danzo's eyes suddenly lit up when he heard this word. If you send a troop from the roots, let Hitaki Xuan Che accompany the search in the name of the mission. Then find an uninhabited area and kill him. Wouldn't it solve the troubles perfectly? Thinking of this, Danzo's horns couldn't help but raise a faint smile. Advertisement. Why are you smiling so happy? Lord Danzo, do you have a good plan to withdraw from the enemy? Xuan Che interjected. Danzo, who thinks he has found a way to kill Xuan Che, is in a good mood. I'm not annoyed by the interrupted thoughts of the other party, and nodded. Well, yes, I order you. Oh no, at this moment, Akamichi Dingza rushed into the conference room with a fat body, and shouted in horror. The news from the guard just now, Cloud Shinobi has launched a new round of offense. How can this be? The last time they launched an assault, less than a week has passed. The Anbu member of the Inuzuka family said in disbelief. Approximately how many people? Not many, only about 800 people, but I and Killer B are the leaders. Akamichi Dingzuo Kaido. I am afraid that we know that Konoha has sent reinforcements, so I want to launch an attack and confirm our situation. Naruto analyzed. Helpless Danzo could only change the order and shouted. Send 1,000 ninja troops to fight. The first battle is the key to determining morale. You can only win without losing. The first game is also a great opportunity for the coach to stand up. Surely Commander Danzo will also play the game himself? Xuan Che said badly. Of course? Danzo's face turned dark, and he gritted his teeth. Kaido. Now that he is on the front line, he has the consciousness of going to the battlefield. Is there a coach who is not on the battlefield at the front line? Although Shimura Danzo is active underground all year round, he still wants face. Not to mention that he has vaguely wanted to replace Sarutobi Hiruzen at this moment. War. What's to be afraid of? Don't forget, he is also a cage-level powerhouse. Chapter 68. As expected, it is the #1 ninja village in the ninja world. Yo, first-class defense and first rate. Yahoo is not so easy to break through. In the battlefield area on the border between the country of Unokuni and the country of Fire, Killer B, who is less than 20 years old but who can control 8 tails more proficiently, hummed a strange rap, and asked the righteous brother I next to him. Big brother, can't you ask Raikage-sama to break through together? 8 grids, okay? Bang. I was angry and snapped a chestnut on Killer B's head, cursing. You idiot, can't you be more serious on the battlefield? Every major task will mess up the situation. If it wasn't for Konoha's strength to be too strong, it would be difficult for him and his father to cope with him. He really didn't want to take this troublemaker out of the village. After Killer B was quieter, I explained. Papa was dragged by San Shinobi and Konoha, and couldn't walk away for a while. It is said that there is a guy who is similar to your age and called Golden Glitter, who is quite difficult to deal with. But it's okay, even if we don't have a father, we can break through the defenses of the country of fire. As he said, I pulled his knuckles and made a burst of clicks. Come, Lord I, shouted a special Jonin from Cloud Shinobi nearby. I, Killer B and others looked up. On the distant horizon, dense dots have emerged, and they are zoomed in extremely quickly in the field of vision. In less than 10 seconds before and after, I could see the visitor completely. Konoha Shinobi Army. Is that the Konoha Black Knife, who killed Sandman in the last battle? I is quite interested in focusing on Xuan Che. Killer B gestured with both hands, hummed and interjected. Do you use a knife? Yo, big brother, give me that guy, Xiao Ba and I will play with him. Baje Ya Lu, you can squeeze Ya Lu. Alright, but be careful. I heard that it is different from White Fang who is good at lightning style. He is extremely good at fire style, and once it is attached, it cannot be extinguished. You must be careful, After Gang reminded Killer B, his face suddenly changed, and he noticed another person at the forefront of Konoha Shinobi's army. The old face that was just over half 100, but full of wrinkles, made do feel incredible. Is that Danzo? He has naturally heard of Danzo's name, but does the famous Lao Yin Bai in Ninja World always act behind the scenes? How come on the frontal battlefield? Is it possible that Konoha is gone? No, White Fang and Jiraiya are not there. No matter what, Sarutobi Hiruzen can go on his own. Why did you send Danzo? Finally, depending on the situation, Danzo should be the commander-in-chief, right? Advertisement Ai's hairstyle began to stand upside down, and it was very similar to Hitaki Tsukumo, forming a thunder armor covering his whole body. Yoshi, as long as you kill him, Konoha's morale will definitely weaken to the extreme, right? When the voice fell, Aiwa shot out like a heavy missile. The strong impact force shattered the ground on which I stood just now, and the strong shockwave formed a whirlwind, almost rushing other Cloud Shinobi around. Leave the black knife to you, then, Ai shouted without looking back. Uncle Kobu, it is Ya from Cloud Shinobi's Killer B. Killer B threw 8 short blades into the sky in one go, and clamped the short blades with their teeth, elbows, armpits, and knees. In the next moment, he rushed towards Konoha's army in a spiral shape directly in this weird posture. And the Cloud Shinobi ninja army behind him also exploded with rugged aura, all yelling and shouting at the Konoha army. Master Danzo, Ai's goal is you. Hyuga Hizashi, who had seen through the course of action of the AB combination in advance, reminded Danzo and Xuan Che. Master Xuan Che, 8 Tails Jinchuriki has passed towards you. And when Hyuga Hizashi yelled out, Xuan Che has flashed Shunpo in front of Killer B. Killer B's face suddenly changed and he secretly said, Bagia Road, this guy is faster than Big Brother. When, in the next instant, the blades of the two met, bursting out sparks. Well, it feels weird. The moment when the blades of Xuan Che and Killer B collided. The look of 8 Tails in the seal space changed slightly. This strangeness and a strong sense of anxiety. What is? The son of 3rd Raikage, a lightning-style ninja, the old man's wind style is not unfamiliar yet. On the other side, Danzo's tone was heavy and did not show fear. Lightning style, right? What he is best at, but restrain his wind style. Wind style vacuum continuous waves. Seeing IU approaching in lightning style chakra armor mode. Danzo made seals with his hands extremely fast, and spit out several scythe wind blades from his mouth. Humph. Looking at the wind blade rushing towards him, a thick smile of disdain appeared on Ai's face. Advertisement the blue light flashed suddenly, disappearing in place and letting the wind blade pass through. Within a blink of an eye, it flashed to Danzo's right. Not as fast as Teacher Tobirama, I can't hide from the old man's perception. Danzo let out a cold voice and waved kunai the moment Ai reappeared. It just pierced his waist, bah. However, in the next scene, something embarrassing happened. When the kunai in Danzo's hand was on Ai's side waist. The moment it was released, it broke into 2 altogether. Ha 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 ha. This time Xuan Che really couldn't hold back, and after getting away from Killer B, he laughed out loud with one hand. This scene is too much like world-famous paintings later. Suffering without thorns. If you think you are stupid, remember that Danzo tried to use Susanoo. Killer B opposite Xuan Che was also confused by Danzo's hand operation. Has the other party never heard of his eldest brother's name? Even if you haven't heard of it, the lightning-style chakra armor passed down from generation to generation by Raikage. As a disciple of 2nd Hokage Senju Tobirama, Danzo should have used 2nd Raikage on the battlefield during the First Ninja War, right? What is the deceitful behavior of using the lightning-style chakra armor with Kawuwu Thorn now? I himself was stupefied even after being stabbed. What is this for? Temptation? Sure enough, it's very hard. Danzo frowned and whispered. Idiot you, I felt that it was an insult to his IQ to pick such an opponent. The left hand merged into a hand knife, and lightning-style chakra broke out. Lei abused Qianping. P.S. The last chapter before it was launched, the number of words was already enough, but a free chapter is given as a thank you. It will be on the shelves at 0 o'clock tonight, so I beg my brothers to make an initial order. If you want to get fat, please give it to one. It's about the life and death of a new book. Ali Gadu, what a da, Chapter 69, Lei abused Qianping. Accompanied by Ai's roar and the Thunderhand sword erupting in his left hand. Gallat, Danzo was caught off guard, and his right arm made a sound like a torn silk. Click. In the next second, a bloody arm had flown through an arc from midair and landed on the ground about 10 meters away from the two of them. The entire right arm was removed, and the intense pain made Danzo kneel to the ground immediately. He fell to the ground and convulsed, all armies on both sides. Are you here to be funny? After at least half a minute passed, Xuan Che couldn't help asking. Although he saw the battle between Sasuke and Danzo from the perspective of God in his previous life, he had the illusion that he was watching Dayunsha. Danzo's bewildering behavior in that battle can be compared to a certain pineapple head in later generations. Whether it's Kuwu Wusho Shizuo, Izanagi is the body replacement technique, or sealing the bridge with death. One for two goods and one for sand sculpture, but now Xuan Che is from the perspective of the bystander. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, wouldn't he believe that there is such a stupid ninja in this world? Niyubi blew loudly. After being on the battlefield for 2 rounds without getting off, one arm was taken off. The other Konoha shinobi people around were also dumbfounded. Just put on a big hook and cursed. This frontline commander, don't worry. With a rough personality, IC had no intention of keeping her hands, her right foot was raised and dropped, and she was ready to perform a headshot for Danzo. Guillotine drop. Xuan Che resisted the continuous slashes from Killer Bee's 8 sword stream, while squinting at I and Danzo's situation. I sighed inwardly, is it a pie in the sky today? Before he took the slightest action, someone helped himself to kill Danzo so caringly? Wind-style vacuum continuous bombing. Wind-style vacuum continuous bombing. Wind-style vacuum continuous bombing. However, life is often unsatisfactory. It was the last moment when Ai's heel was about to kick Danzo's head like a watermelon. Advertisement: a dozen ninjas from the Shimura family rushed forward and spit out wind blades towards Ai from the left and right sides. If it were his daddy, third Raikage, he would never be afraid of wind style of this level. Not half the power of Naruto's spiral shuriken. However, Ai lightning style chakra armor is obviously not as strong as his father. The focus in the pupils shifted left and right, looking at the approaching Fang blade. Finally, he gave up his attack and retreated quickly to dodge. Master Danzo. One of the Shimura's Jonin rushed to Danzo's side, holding Danzo's remaining left arm, and barely holding him up. Retreat, retreat. The severe pain from the broken arm made Danzo's wrinkled face full of cold sweat, and he barely spit out 2 words between his teeth. Shimura Jonin heard the words and shouted, "Retreat! Lord Danzo's order, retreat quickly! Retreat! Hey, just started the fight, right?" A little further away, Akamichi Dingza, who disarmed the meat bomb tank, was incredible. Master Danzo's arm was cut off, the commander-in-chief was frustrated, and morale would drop to the extreme. At this time, you really should retreat. Explained Hyuga Hizashi, who saw the battlefield in a radius of several kilometers with a blank eye. The hand was chopped. How long have you just started fighting? Akamichi Dingza had an expression of, you play with me. Other Konoha shinobi who heard about it also showed a ghostly expression. What kind of parallel import is this commander-in-chief? What is the rule of the Konoha faction? I, who avoided a dozen people in wind style, looked at Danzo, who was supported by Shimura Jonin, and couldn't believe it. Isn't this going too smoothly? The largest village in the ninja world? Have you blown it? But in less than half a second, I quickly reacted and shouted. Don't let them run away, hunt for me, as many things as possible. Although only 800 of their vanguards were dispatched this time, they were intended to spy on the military situation of Konoha's reinforcements. But I didn't expect Konoha to give them such a win. That being the case, take advantage of this great opportunity to advance across the board in one breath. If you are lucky, you might be able to hit the territory of the Land of Fire. Oh. The news that Commander Konoha was cut off by their coach quickly spread to the Cloud Shinobi Second Middle School. Advertisement for a time, everyone was excited, and morale rose to the extreme. It chased and slashed towards Konoha's army like a beast. On the contrary, Konoha's morale was reduced to the extreme. Many Konoha shinobi who turned around and were about to evacuate were caught off guard for a while, and were cut off their heads by the Cloud Shinobi ninja chasing from behind. Screaming, roaring, spread throughout the valley. Damn it. When I saw that several of my people were pierced by the Cloud Shinobi ninja, their heads were cut off. With Naruto's calm personality, he couldn't hold it back for a while and cursed. Had it not been for Danzo, could the situation be so bad? The sentence, one general is incompetent, and the army is exhausted, has been perfectly confirmed at this moment. Yeah, even me, I didn't expect the situation to get to this point. Xuan Che looked at the scene of Konoha shinobi flying in blood, as if not looking at people, but at the pigs and sheep being slaughtered in the slaughterhouse. Master Xuan Che, be careful, Big Loli Nohara Lin shouted. Wild Heron cuts a knife. The killer bee on the opposite side suddenly jumped down and turned forward with the 8 knives on him. Woo! Xuan Che took a light breath, holding the sword tip with both hands facing the front, making a kendo standard starting hand style. Mr. Xuan Che. Seeing Killer Bee about to fall on top of Xuan Che's head, Yi Yuan Lin shouted with increasing worry. Take yo! Killer Bee exclaimed. 8 Tails in the sealed space suddenly changed his face and stood up and shouted. Idiot! Avoid it! At the same moment, Xuan Che's pupils shrank suddenly, and Killer Bee's movements in his eyes seemed to slow down countless times at the last moment of the hit. Kendo 2 breaks. At a moment when outsiders can't see it at all. Xuan Che's body suddenly took a step forward, but Zanpakuto's blade remained in its original position. But in fact, he has lifted the knife and cut it down. It's just that outsiders can't see it. Chapter 70 Boom. After Xuan Che took a step to make a move, Killer Bee also fell to the ground in less than a blink of an eye. Wow. After about 2 seconds, the left side of Killer Bee's body was running a vertical line from the left shoulder to the knee of the left leg. An incredibly neat vertical wound, blood plasma burst and splashed from it like a fountain. Big then. The surrounding Cloud Shinobi were all dumbfounded. What's going on? What happened just now? Wrong. How come? The sword just now was the sword intent that he had recently realized? Even if it is cage level, there are people who can avoid it, in Xuan Che's cognition. There are only a few people at the top of cage level, such as Hitaki Tsukumo and 3rd Raikage. Killer bees of this age cannot be included. Xuan Che turned and looked back. A translucent blood bubble appeared on Killer Bee's body. and formed a blood-colored coat with long horns and tail on the surface of the skin. That is, Yi Yuanlin's eyes widened in astonishment when she saw this for the first time. Is that so, 8 tails? Xuan Che suddenly realized. Looking at the ultra-long cut of nearly 1.5 meters on the left half of Killer Bee's body, most of the blood has been stopped, and he couldn't help but smile. Tailed beast, it's a good thing. Like Hitaki Tsukumo, Namikaze Minato and other civilians, the cage-level peak without any blood inheritance is the limit of their limits. But if you have a tail beast, you become Jinchuriki. Has the qualification to aspire to Super Shadow. Although Namikaze Minato is dead, it is absolutely impossible to practice 9 tails mode in the underworld. But forget it myself. Xuan Che didn't want to have a beast watching when he was doing business with Tsunade. Talking about Senju Hashirama and Uzumaki Mito, Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina when doing business, how does 9 tails feel like? Thanks, Xiao Ba. Killer Bee shouted inwardly. At that moment, the loss of 8 tails was discovered early, and he controlled his body to evade, otherwise the consequences would be disastrous. Be careful, if it weren't for me, you would have died a long time ago. 8 tails snorted, feeling a little lingering when thinking about the sword just now. At the last moment, he transferred the control of his body, and then used the tail beast code to increase his defense. Advertisement finally saved this fool's life, but that one can't be hit again. Although it is not yet a complete master, but to deal with enemies of this level, you can only use that, compare. 8 tails reminded again. Understood? You. Killer Bee raised his right arm to the sky, letting his saber drop to the ground. The tails behind Chakra's coat came out one by one. When it finally turned into 8, Killer Bee's own skin also began to fall off. About half a mile away, Hyuga Hizashi was pinching the blood-covered Hyuga Hizashi's neck, easily defeating Ai, who was about to give the opponent the final blow, and suddenly stopped attacking. Turning his head to look in the direction of Xuan Che and Killer Bee, frowning. This breath is better than that guy. Without my consent, it turns into a beast. Is the opponent strong enough to let him use that trick? With Killer Bee in a beast-like state, Ai didn't have much confidence to subdue him. Shadow imitation. Suddenly, a black shadow on the ground rushed over quickly, connecting with the shadow beside Ai's feet. Ai's expression changed suddenly, and when he reacted, his body could no longer be controlled by himself. Hyuga Hizashi, who was carrying it, also slipped from his hand. Turning around, I saw Narulujojung pinching his index fingers and middle fingers up and down, and said with a sigh of relief. Shadow imitation, success. Hey, Nara family? Ai gritted his teeth. Really careless. On the other side, Akamichi Dingza rushed over and caught the bloody Hyuga Hizashi. Suddenly, Ai moved fiercely and shocked the saver Akamichi Dingza. Nara Shikajiu looked in pain and said, it's such a strong force, he wants to use brute force to break free from my shadow imitation technique. Nara Luju shouted inwardly, hurry up, Hiichi. Human-shaped tail beastization, isn't it? Seeing that Killer Bee was wrapped in dark red chakra and turned into a half-human and half-beast monster, Xuan Che was as calm as ever. Roar. The beast-tailed Killer Bee uttered a roar at Xuan Che. Zero fine flowers. The shockwave set off by sound waves alone is enough to make most ninjas lose their fighting spirit. Advertisement. The surrounding cloud shinobi dared not approach. Because they know exactly how dangerous the Killer Bee is in this state. But it doesn't seem to be a perfect master yet. Xuan Che saw that Killer Bee was not as perfect as the future master of 8 Tails power. But it's enough for me to try, then let you see the monsters within me. Xuan Che lifted Zanpakuto flat in his hand to the front of Yu hung in a horizontal position. Just when the two sides are on the verge of breaking out. A Jonin with Konoha forehead protector fell behind Xuan Che and shouted anxiously. Yun, Lord Xuan Che, please cover the retreat of Konoha shinobi army. We have suffered heavy casualties. Zero. Xuan Che glanced sideways. It's Yamanaka Keiichi. Xuan Che immediately looked in the direction of the retreat of the large group. Wow. Looking around, they are all Konoha shinobi corpses, and because Cloud Shinobi is generally good at using knives. Therefore, it is basically a state of dismemberment. Although there are some of the corpses of Cloud Shinobi. But the proportion is pitiful. It's about 5 to 1, maybe Konoha accounts for even more. I haven't watched it for a few minutes, so many deaths? Xuan Che raised his eyebrows. Roar. Killer Bee roared again and rushed towards Xuan Che. Xuan Che turned his wrist, the blade stood in front of the throwing claws, and said calmly. Don't worry, I'm not ready. Master Xuan Che, there is no time to pester him now, please hurry up. Yamanaka Hai almost cried. He didn't think his friend's shadow mimicry could stop Ai for long. Tisk, no way. The moment the voice fell, centered on Xuan Che itself. The atmosphere of the entire battlefield changed drastically, and everyone just felt that the scene in front of them became more and more blurred. The weaker ninja even knelt down in an instant or even fainted. Even the Killer Bee, with its tail beast-like form, froze in place. Although he loses his mind, it is the instinct of a creature to fear power stronger than oneself. Is this the true strength of Konoha Black Knife, son? Chapter 71. Hoo. In the next instant, the blade of Xuan Che's saber burned with an unknown black flame. It was different from the previous feeling of simply covering the Amaterasu flame on the sword. If you look closely, you will find that the flame just ignited from inside the blade. Xuan Che turned his gaze, and then raised Zanpakuto to lock the boundary between the chasing party Cloud Shinobi and the chasing Fang Konoha. That flame is a little different from the previous feeling. Da Loli Nohara Lin said inwardly, ha boom boom boom. The black flame Zanpakuto held high, accompanied by the pitch-black sword aura, fell up and down together. Everything in front turned into a battlefield of purgatory, fragile and destroyed like tofu. Lu Ju quickly removed the shadow imitation technique. When Akamichi saw the roaring sword energy rushing towards this side, Akamichi yelled in panic. Naralugia's face also had the same expression, and quickly lifted the shadow that was connected to his feet. At the moment of release, the two of them moved forward and the other evaded in different directions. Almost at the same moment when the shadow imitation technique was lifted and the two of them retreated and dodged. The angry waves and sword energy are like a chariot passing by, whizzing through between the two sides. If it is 1 second slow, the consequences will be disastrous. Obviously, not everyone has the strength and luck of I and Naraluju. Many Cloud Shinobi are busy chasing and killing Konoha's fugitives and will not be able to detect the third-party crisis in time in the future. Either they were torn to pieces by the sword chi directly, or they were caught in a sea of flames, constantly thumping with their hands to try to extinguish the flames on their bodies. However, the black inflammation became more and more vigorous, even spreading to other people, becoming more and more intense. Hoo-hoo-hoo. A ravine that is more than a kilometer long, and at the same time ignited a black flame wall of nearly 10 meters in height, completely separated Konoha and Cloud Shinobi. Those who cross the line, die. Xuan Che's voice didn't smell of intimidation deliberately. But it echoed clearly in the ears of Cloud Shinobi's army, vaguely with a trace of inviolable deterrence. Make them afraid to cross the wall of fire half a step. Advertisement. B******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** cultivate, it is not difficult to get past. But apart from him, 99% of Cloud Shinobi are helpless. Obviously it is impossible to continue the pursuit. This time, we won. I turned around, not letting go of the opportunity to invigorate the army, raising his right arm and shouting to the many Cloud Shinobi behind him. Although he did not succeed in pressing into the territory of the Country of Fire, Konoha's commander was beaten to death in the first battle. And Cloud Shinobi lost only about 1/5 of Konoha's loss in this battle, which is a big win. Oh. The many Cloud Shinobi who were stunned by Xuan Che's ghost-like sword, heard eyes cry. The fear in the heart has also turned into the ecstasy of victory, and they all raised the blade in their hands and shouted passionately. The first battle is over. This first confrontation between Konoha and Cloud Shinobi on the battlefield ended in Konoha's disastrous defeat. The 1,000 ninja army dispatched, the death toll was nearly 700. When Hyuga Heishi and others who stayed in the stronghold town saw Danzo's arm broken and the blood-stained compatriots returning only a few hours ago, only 30% of the number of compatriots left. All of them were dumbfounded in place. After a few seconds of dumbfounded, they came to their senses one after another, and stepped forward to send the wounded to the medical room. However, in fact, the number of injured is not too much. Anyone who was injured basically never escaped from the pursuit of Cloud Shinobi. These injured survived entirely because of Xuan Che's last cut, which exasperated Cloud Shinobi and Konoha to cut off both sides. The representative is Hyuga Hisashi, who was beaten by I. Hyuga Heishi stood outside the camp of the medical department, anxiously waiting for the results of the operation. Akamichi Dingza next to him opened his shirt and asked the nurse to help him bandage the fleshy wound that was hit by I's lightning style. It may be because he had too much fat, which formed a natural barrier without hurting his internal organs. To be a thin man, I am afraid that half of his lungs are gone. Naralu was lucky for a long time, and only suffered a few knife wounds. After a few stitches, he only needed a drip. Advertisement, Deputy Commander Lu Ju, the casualties of this battle resulted in 0. Because Danzo is still undergoing surgery, the logistics ninja responsible for counting the casualties can only report to Nara Shikahisa. Nara Luju gestured to him and said it was all right. 657 people died on the battlefield, of which 482 were of civilian origin, 48 from the Hyuga family, 31 from the Nara family, 31 from the Yamanaka family. Surgery is currently underway, and 19 severely injured people cannot be confirmed. Bang! When the logistics reported this appalling set of statistics, Naralu could not bear the annoyance in his heart for a long time, and slapped various palms on the desktop next to him. On the other side, Akamichi Dingza was taken aback. As the brain of Ino Shikacho, and even Konoha, Naraluju would be so gaff, he had never seen it before. Rinda Nohara, who helped with the infusion, quickly stabilized the bottle, and exhorted. Master Luju, please be careful, get me pen and ink. Naraluji looked at the logistics team for a long time, and wanted to say this sentence with her teeth broken. And in front of another operating room not far from the town base, just watch a group of Shimura ninjas guarding the door. I knew who the operation was going on inside, Master Xuan Che. When seeing Xuan Che passing by, the Shimura ninja guarding the door bowed their heads in salute. There is no story in third-rate urban novels where the security guard sees the protagonist dog eyes and sees people low. Unless they are in a hurry to die, it's a pity that Tsunade isn't here. Xuan Che didn't just talk to those Shimura ninjas, he talked to himself. However, those Shimura ninjas obviously did not understand the meaning of Xuan Che's words. They thought that Xuan Che meant that it was a pity that Tsunade was not there and could not be their Lord Danzo. And what Xuan Che really means is, it's a pity that Tsunade is not there, so I can't slash this old Yinbi in the operating room. But there is no way. Who would have expected Danzo to be so awkward that 4th Raikage took his arm off only 2 rounds? Did you kneel too fast? Despite the battle between the original book and Sasuke, Danzo has fully demonstrated his familiarity. Chapter 72 Konoha Administration Building, Meeting Room for Elders. Sarutobi Hiruzen, Uchiha Kaharu and Mitokado Homura have gathered here. One of the 4 positions is vacant. This is an urgent letter sent back by Naruto, the deputy commander of the Northern Front. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked sad, and his mood sank to the bottom. Take the small scroll from Sarutobi Hiruzen. Uchiha Kaharu and Mitokado Homura quickly finished reading them, and their expressions were cloudy. This is his attitude. Is he mocking our elders' decision-making mistakes? Uchiha Kaharu said coldly. In this personal letter from the patriarch Naruto is not so exaggerated as the bloody dog that criticized the elders. But the tone can also be said to be unceremonious. In the first battle between Konoha and Cloud Shinobi, under the leadership of Commander-in-Chief Danzo, Konoha fought an unprecedented defeat before and after it was repeated to Sarutobi Hiruzen in detail. The exaggeration of the proportion of deaths and injuries is something that first generation and second generation never happened during the 2009 term. At the same time, it has not been pointed out in the slightest euphemism. If it weren't for Danzo, the Commander-in-Chief lost die in the form of a miserable defeat or even humiliation. Konoha would not lose so badly, just pointed at the nose of F4 of the elders and scolded them. Had it not been for you to let Shimura Danzo, a parallel importer, be the Commander-in-Chief, would you lose so badly? Such an unceremonious attitude naturally annoys Uchiha Kaharu, a high-ranking person who has been in high position for a long time. Danzo's situation is very bad, he was seriously injured, and it seems inappropriate to be on the front line. Compared to Uchiha Kaharu, Mitokado Homura calmed down a bit, turning his head to Sarutobi Hiruzen and saying, "Transfer him back." Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't answer immediately. To be precise, he couldn't hear it. He fell into deep contemplation. The war had just begun, and he committed 2 big mistakes. First, failing to perceive Cloud Shinobi's secretive tactics, the Cloud Shinobi army easily advanced to the border zone of the Fire Country. Second, the wrong use of Danzo caused Konoha to suffer a disastrous defeat in the first battle. Knowing that Xuan Che, Tsunade is very likely to be aimed at 4th Hokage's position, it is possible to attack oneself at any time. They don't use the title to play, Sarutobi Hiruzen believes it or not. Advertisement at this moment, his heart is particularly irritable. Hiruzen. Mitokado Homura shouted several times in succession, which brought Sarutobi Hiruzen back to reality from his contemplation. In desperation, I can only ask again. With Danzo's current physical condition, it is impossible to continue to serve as the frontline commander, right? Substitution? Who? Without waiting for Sarutobi Hiruzen to answer, Uchiha Kaharu questioned it first. Such a question turned down Mitokado Homura. Now Konoha village stays the strongest. Open black lens bracket Konoha's white fangtooth close black lens bracket Hitaki Shumao. This does not need to be disputed. But in the beginning, their elders group was to separate the 2 brothers and act together, so they let Danzo go to the front. Of course, it would be great if Hitaki Xuan Che can be killed during the chaos of war. As a result, Danzo knelt as soon as he got out of the base. It was too fast, right? Hiruzen, that. Mitokado Homura looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen hesitantly. Although he didn't say the following words, but Sarutobi Hiruzen also guessed the other person's mind when his eyes met. I want to go to the front line by myself. Sarutobi Hiruzen subconsciously presses on his heart. The aging of age accompanied by the discomfort from time to time in the body has become more and more obvious in recent years. Fight with the strong son of 3rd Raikage and 8 Tails Jinchuriki. After hesitating for a long time, Sarutobi Hiruzen finally made a decision. Let Shumao take over Danzo's position and inform him to go to the front line immediately. In the end, he did not dare to go to the front line personally. It is true that 2 major mistakes were committed at the beginning of the war, and the situation is not optimistic. But it has not reached the point of being irreparable. As long as they don't make any mistakes later, Xuan Che and Tsunade have no chance to seize the position of Hokage from their hands. As for the question of who bears the responsibility for the 2 mistakes. Danzo, it's time to play your job, advertisement. Let me go back. A few days later, Danzo woke up from the operation with an empty right arm. After receiving an order from Sarutobi Hiruzen, an old friend of the Great Rear Area, to return to Konoha immediately, the position of Commander-in-Chief was replaced by Hitaki Tsukumo. I was deeply moved for a while. The image of I, the son of 3rd Raikage, slicing off his right arm with ease, has turned into a nightmare in his mind for several days. Being able to escape from this nightmare land is naturally something to be happy about. However, as soon as he fought a battle on the battlefield, he was disarmed by the enemy in 2 rounds, and was withdrawn from the front line within a month. Shimura Danzo can be called the Commander-in-Chief in the history of Konoha. What a shame. Thank you, Master Danzo, leave it to me next. At this time, Hitaki Tsukumo took Sarutobi Hiruzen's autograph and walked up to Danzo. In Danzo's eyes, Hitaki Tsukumo holding the post-transfer document with Sarutobi Hiruzen's autograph is tantamount to laughing at himself. Damn it. Danzo gritted his teeth secretly, but I really didn't have the courage to fight Cloud Shinobi with this broken body. I had to take a few entourages and leave Dingy, It seems that it is still a shameful job, which is more suitable for Danzo's big hit. Behind Hitaki Tsukumo, as a reinforcement, Nawaki, who rushed from Konoha to the northern border, sneered and mocked when Danzo walked past him. Danzo glared at the other side viciously. Nawaki also smiled and looked back at the past without showing any weakness. If you have time to play staring games, why don't you hurry back to Konoha and take your hand over? Xuan Che came here leisurely, forcing Danzo to give in and withdraw his eyes in advance. The latest news from Konoha is now being discussed in the whole village. It is because of the mistakes of Lord Danzo that Konoha suffered heavy casualties. The families of those deceased. No, the whole village is scolding you now. Xuan Che smiled. Danzo stared like a bell. I noticed it in a second, it was Sarutobi Hiruzen who was trying to get himself back. A hole. Danzo gritted his teeth, and after 2 words popped out of the seam, he quickly left with a group of followers. Chapter 73. It's a waste. I really don't understand how Grandpa Tobirama chose him as his disciple. Looking at Danzo's back in embarrassment, Nawaki said to himself with cold and contempt. Don't underestimate Danzo. After all, no matter how you say, they are all people who can reach cage level with bloodless physique, but their brains are abnormal. Xuan Che chuckled lightly. Although the strength has been weakened to the quasi-shadow, even the Jonin elite. But Danzo at his peak also touched the level of cage level. Although it only touched the threshold, it was quite good. However, this guy has a problem with his brain. It is very similar to the second pillars of later generations. His own strength is mediocre, but he always likes to leapfrog and challenge opponents who are stronger than himself. What's more second than the 2 pillars is that he often responds with a series of confusing behavior operations. Suffering without thorns and beards, Izanagi will not mention these as body replacement technique. The battle with Ai alone showed the famous scene of Kunai lightning-style chakra armor. The strength is still a little bit, but the brain is really problematic. And did not understand his role positioning. Obviously, he is just a backer, but he always thinks that he is the savior of this world. It seems that you did not succeed, Xuan Che. Hitaki Tsukumo walked over. He understood very well that Xuan Che planned to kill Shimura Danzo with the help of the chaos of the war just like the last time he killed Sarutobi Shinosuke. But now Danzo is recalled to the village. This idea will definitely not be realized. Who knew this guy knelt so fast? When it comes to this matter, Xuan Che is also quite speechless. Danzo is too bad, right? Old man Sarutobi put all the responsibility for the loss in the first battle on Danzo, so that my sister can take over the position of Hokage after this war is over? Nawaki said anxiously. After this incident, he finally understood why Sarutobi Hiruzen had so much tolerance for Danzo. Once something goes wrong, any pot can be buckled on the head of the god Danzo. Such an easy-to-use pot king, if you stand from the perspective of Sarutobi Hiruzen, you can't bear to throw it. There are always more methods than problems, and there are opportunities. Advertisement Xuan Che does not regret this. In the Third Ninja War, Konoha had to deal with 3 large villages, Cloud Shinobi, Rock Shinobi, and Mist Shinobi. Behind the scenes there is Uchiha Madara who is ready to move. There are many opportunities, not bad this time. The opponent is the AB combination of Ai, the son of 3rd Raikage and 8 Tails Jinchuriki Killer Bee, right? In the next battle, we have to win back a city. Hitaki Tsukumo said solemnly. Let them see what is the strongest combination in the ninja world. Xuan Che also smiled. Hiruzen, what is going on? A week later, Danzo, who had returned to Konoha village from the northern front, found Sarutobi Hiruzen angrily and questioned him. After returning to Konoha, it was exactly as Xuan Che said. Everyone in the village blamed themselves for losing the first battle. Well, although I do have most of the responsibility. But it shouldn't be so exaggerated, right? He has almost scolded himself as a rat crossing the street. The sinners of the ages are completely in the same situation as Hitaki Tsukumoshi, who failed his mission 5 years ago and was about to be sprayed suicide. Danzo, it seems that the job on the bright side is not suitable for you. This is also an opportunity. Sarutobi Hiruzen calmly exhaled smoke, calmly said. Recently, I heard that Iwagakure might do something, so let's investigate it from your roots. Also, I heard that a female ninja named, No, who is opening an orphanage in the country of fire is very good, let you leave this to you. Danzo was not angry. When Utatane Kaharu and Mitokado Homura saw this, they quickly discouraged. Danzo, this is by far the best solution. You don't want to sit and watch Tsunade ascend the position of Hokage, do you? If that happens, the situation will only be worse than it is now. Under the repeated persuasion of the other 2 people, Danzo's stomach fire could only choke back into his stomach abruptly. After leaving behind a heavy hum, he turned and left the office. It is only natural that Tsunade cannot be Hokage. But Hiruzen, this Hokage does not need to be yours. The old man is the savior who can bring changes to this world of ninja. Advertisement. The old man proved back that Mr. Tobirama's choice was wrong. Thinking of this, Shimura Danzo didn't look back and strode away to go to his mouse den base. The defeat in Ai's hands between the 2 rounds made him understand that he must have stronger power. It just so happens that the power of first Hokage Hashirama has entered the stage of human experimentation. It should be available for a try. It would be great if Tsunade could perform the transplant operation. But Danzo knew in his heart that it was impossible. However, he still has one candidate. Even if he defected, he still has a way to contact him. At this moment, the relationship between his Shimura Danzo and Sarutobi Hiruzen has broken. It's just that when it comes to persecuting their own people, the two still maintain a consistent pace. Backquote, that fellow Danzo had his arm broken by Third Raikage's son? It's a pity, why didn't that old thing die in the opponent's hands? The western front line of the country of wind, the country of fire and the country of thunder. Tsunade, who had just finished his work on Namikaze Minato and unwrapped the medical mask on his face, just heard about the situation on the northern front line, and did not hide his voice. Master Tsunade, please be quiet. The money is good, seeing that there are not only Konoha's own ninjas, but also Sand Shinobi, Namikaze Minato sweating to stop Tsunade. What are you afraid of? I wish the whole world knew about the old Piff's early death. Tsunade didn't bother to argue. Namikaze Minato can only accompany Uncle Laugh. By the way, your kid is really useless, or can't deal with that ugly old man. Tsunade patted Namikaze Minato's wound hard, and the painful partner shuddered. A fist-sized blood hole was broken there, which was caused by Third Raikage's strong spear, hell thrust. Namikaze Minato smiled bitterly, no way, I really can't break through his defense. Although the speed can be comparable, however, the gap between the attack power of the two sides is too great. The Big Ball Rasengan, who is currently the most powerful, can't break through the opponent's chakra armor at all. Chapter 74. Master Raikage. According to the latest battle report from the Ministry of Intelligence, Master I successfully defeated Konoha's frontline commander Shimura Danzo, and now our army's morale has skyrocketed. Another stronghold of the Cloud Shinobi Ninja Army, which is in confrontation with Sand Shinobi and Konoha, reports from Tutaiwi, an assistant to Third Raikage. On the contrary, after Konoha's battle, contrary to our army, morale must be reduced to the extreme. As soon as these words came out, many of the dark-skinned, fat Cloud Shinobi men in the barracks were excited. One of the Jonin captains immediately proposed to Third Raikage. Master Raikage, there is no need to continue to entangle with Sand Shinobi's poppers now. We retreat back to meet I and Killer B and the others, and the whole army will press into the land of fire. Originally, they attacked Sand Shinobi as a cover. Now that the goal has been achieved, there is naturally no need to stay here. No, however, Tutai, a military division of Cloud Shinobi village, shook his head and denied this proposal. In the puzzled eyes of other Cloud Shinobi, Tutai explained. We are now helping Habi and the others to contain Konoha. If we drive back to meet them, Konoha's Golden Glitter and Tsunade Heim will also meet Konoha's black sword on his back. Now Golden Glitter has no possibility of defeating Lord Raikage. We have already taken advantage of it and may even break through Konoha's defense line from the west. If you change your strategy blindly, not to mention the final victory may not be achieved, maybe even the existing advantages will be lost. Tutai explained it, and most of Cloud Shinobi in the camp agreed. But fortunately, a few people still think that they should withdraw to the rear and join I and Killer B. For a moment, everyone turned their eyes to Third Raikage. In any case, the final decision is still Shadow. After Third Raikage lowered his head to meditate for a moment, he issued a decision. Just as Tutai said, we are here to break through Konoha's line of defense. That, Golden Glitter, can keep up with Raikage-sama's speed is quite unexpected, but the attack power is completely inadequate. Tutai smiled and said, if you can defeat him, you will definitely be able to knock Konoha's entire army down to the bottom. Third Raikage's face is also full of confidence, saying. His move is a revision of second Hokage Flying Thunder God. I saw it when I was young, and I have seen it many times. Next time I fight, I will pierce his heart with a hell thrust. And here at Konoha camp, Namikaze Minato keeps trying to add nature transformation to Rasengan, so that it can increase Rasengan's power and break the defense of Third Raikage. However, he has experimented more than many times. Advertisement in the end it ended in failure. Master Tsunade, Minato-sensei's attack can't break through the lightning-style armor of Third Raikage. Kakashi, who was observing from a distance, frowned and said to Tsunade who was secretly playing dice. Tsunade swept his eyes and kept experimenting with Rasengan nature transformations Namikaze Minato, and then curled his mouth. It's really useless, I'll go personally next time in the fight. There are Kakashi and Obito, and the faces of the people in Yuri blushing suddenly change. Real or fake? Battlefield on the northern frontier of the country of fire. At this moment, Konoha and Cloud Shinobi are the two armies. Enter the confrontation again. It's different from the last time the Mavericks tried their knife. This time, both sides sent nearly 3,000 combatants. Obviously, Cloud Shinobi wanted to take this opportunity to break Danzo's right arm, and his morale was like a rainbow to advance to the territory of the country of fire. Once they reach this strategic goal, there will be a lot of materials for them to plunder. The forefront of Konoha's army, Hitaki Tsukumo, who took over as the commander-in-chief of Danzo, looked at all the Konoha shinobi who were scared behind him, and they almost wrote the word, fear of death, on their faces. They were quite worried. The morale on our side is very weak. It's all the mess left by Shimura Danzo. Hyuga Heishi didn't have a good air. His brother Hyuga Hazashi finally got his life back. But those tribesmen who died with dozens of lives were not so lucky. This time we have to win. This place is very close to the border of the country of fire, Master Shuamao. Naraluju frowned. I know. Hitaki also nodded solemnly. Advertisement, stop gossip. Xuan Che's voice interrupted the negative talk of several people. Sitting on the back of a large husky, he raised his head and motioned Hitaki to look at I and Killer B in the C position of the opposite Cloud Shinobi army, and asked Road. That's the AB combination, which one do you choose? Hitaki Tsukumo said with a rare half-joking. Oh, of course the elder brother is in charge of the elder brother, and the younger brother is in charge of the younger brother. Yeah, a certain brother was too stupid to be sprayed to commit suicide before. Xuan Che laughed and sneered, and suddenly Hitaki Shumao's face was covered with black lines. Naralukisa, Hyuga Haishi and others were afraid to interrupt at all. The White Fang incident is a taboo. While Xuan Che is discussing each other, Cloud Shinobi is also observing Konoha. Black Sword White Fang. In the Second Ninja World War, many people passed them as the strongest combination in the ninja world. Ai Wei stared blankly and said coldly, "That's just because of the last war, we Cloud Shinobi didn't participate, did we?" Big brother is right, yeah, are you right, Xiaoba? Killer Bee hummed an out-of-tune rap with peculiar gestures as always, and said to Eight Tails in the sealed space. Be careful, idiot, don't forget that you almost. Call, Eight Tails hadn't finished speaking, two white shadows suddenly charged out like a ghost from the front of Konoha's army half a mile away. When the rush to the Cloud Shinobi army was about 100 meters away. At the same time jumped up. The light of two cold swords, one black and one white, was shuddering in the sunlight. Boom 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 boom. Almost both Ai and Killer Bee raised their right arms and sabers to resist them instinctively. And above them, Xuan Che and Hitaki had already drawn their swords and fell. The impact of Mount Tai's top pressure caused the entire ground under the feet of the AB group to collapse. The violent sword pressure has turned into countless sickle weasels, marking the earth one after another hunting ditch. Chapter 75 Xuan Che's black knife slashed on Ai's right arm, and Hitaki's white blade slashed on Killer Bee's short blade. The falling shockwave, coupled with the overflowing sword energy, formed a violent turbulent impact, dispelling all the surrounding Cloud Shinobi. What a fast speed! What a powerful force! Hyuga Haishi exclaimed in surprise. It is very dangerous for those two to charge too fast, go up for reinforcements. Naraluju shouted. It is different from the situation at the end of the Fourth Ninja War in later generations, where only the 6 Pads class can deal with the 6 Pads class. As long as the number reaches a certain level, it can contend and even defeat enemies that are stronger than itself. Even at the peak of Cage level, it is very dangerous to place an order. The most typical example is the third Raikage who died under the siege of 10,000 rock shinobi. It's a very powerful force, but the two alone dared to rush into my Cloud Shinobi encirclement. It's too arrogant, right? Jonin's elite Troy, who is second only to Ai and Killer Bee in the Cloud Shinobi army, raised his eyebrows and waved and shouted. Attack! The Cloud Shinobi army who had just been retreated around had quickly sealed their seals. Lightning style emotion wave, lightning style go. Under the continuous attack of countless Cloud Shinobi ninjas who were good at lightning style, countless shining thunders rushed towards the two of Xuan Che and Hitaki in the middle from all around. You guys who can't even leave a name in the history of ninjas, don't make troubles anymore. Following Xuan Che's words, the entire battlefield space began to vibrate, and everyone only felt that the scenery in the field of vision began to blur. Ninjas above the Jonin level can barely keep moving. Chunin began to squat, and it was difficult to breathe. Genin fell directly to the ground, and the chilling Ryotsu shock made them feel that it might be easier if they died directly. Yes, it was before. Many Konoha shinobi who rushed for reinforcements from the rear also had difficulty breathing. Seeing that the people around him were also falling down one after another, Naraluju gritted his teeth and shouted. Master Xuan Che, please stop, your own person has also been. Only then did Xuan Che converge on Ryotsu, and the whole person swung a punch in the air, and the wrist holding the knife twisted out a beautiful sword flower along with the rotating body. Buzzing, the bloody light flashed through the mid-air with the sword shadow. The bloody black and red had a somewhat mysterious beauty. But the fly in the ointment is that there is something sprinkled in it. Advertisement that's Ai's flesh. Ai raised his hand and looked at his right arm. Almost the whole piece of flesh was cut off from the elbow to the back of his hand. The moment that white-haired B************ D released that strange energy. His attack power has been greatly increased, better than when I fought with me last time. Killer B screamed strangely, with an incredible expression on his face. No, it's his true strength now. Eight Tails inside responded. Hey, bye, share some of my chakras with your simple-minded big brother. The chakra of the tail beast has a self-healing effect. Okay. 3 grams of oil Zauba, Killer Bee gave a grateful voice, and 8 Tails gave birth to huge octopus feet wrapped around Ai, trying to heal him with the tail beast chakra. Chidori blade. At the moment when the octopus's feet were less than half a meter away from Ai, an arc flash drew out, sharply cutting the octopus's feet. This can't work. The bright knife Hitaki Tsukumo turned his head to look at Killer Bee. See Lala. Ai's lightning-style chakra armor exploded to its limit, and the sparks caused by the high-temperature friction caused by the strong current temporarily stopped the blood from the cut skin on the arm. Bye, focus on cleaning up the guy on your side. When the voice fell, Ai suddenly disappeared. Flashed behind Xuan Che in an instant, like a fist version of 1,000 birds, the entire left arm burst out with an astonishing electric current, smashing into the back of Xuan Che's head. Lightning-style heavy current violence, whoosh. However, at the moment when it is about to hit, Xuan Che also disappeared in place, making Ai's thunder fist hit a blank. Ai's pupils shrank suddenly, and the sixth sense brought by the rich combat experience made him turn his head to look at it in an instant. The black knife with the blade of burning indestructible flame has cut towards his own throat. Zero fine flowers. I shouted angrily, and his back stood up, and his speed rose to a new level. Take a step back in a trance. It almost made the indestructible flame dodge at a position less than 1 millimeter away from his own throat. Advertisement. Big Brother's full force mode. Killer Bee's secret path in a hand-to-hand battle with Hitaki Tsukumo with a supersonic shock lightning style knife. Do you want BB speed? Xuan Che said funny. It was almost a moment when I avoided the cut. Xuan Che moved to his side again and slashed head on again. Eye's pupil shrank suddenly, gritted his teeth and turned his face to avoid, clenching his right hand into a straight fist. Very good, he has no time to withdraw the knife. A flash of joy flashed in Eye's eyes, lightning straight. Oh, is it? As if he had guessed Eye's mind. Xuan Che twisted his wrist, and the flame of Amaterasu on the Zanpakuto sword was instantly emptied by a stronger force. It seemed that an invisible beast roared out of the knife. The entire space seemed to be squeezed, bursting open. Bang! In Eye's field of vision, only the earth in front of him could be torn apart like crackers. When he reacted, the whole person had been knocked into flight. Thump thump. After being knocked out of a distance of tens of meters, Aikai finally reluctantly stopped because he hit the back wall of the mountain after rolling more than a dozen laps on the ground. Just now, what was that? Aikwo shouted in shock. Sword spirit? The pupils behind Killer Bee's sunglasses were startled. No, it's sword pressure. As Hitaki Shigeru explained, Chidori covered half of his arm and turned into a thunderwolf to bite Killer Bee's arm. Hitaki Tsukumo instantly increased his power to the limit. One of the short blades of Killer Bee's rung in front of Uixin, cut his left shoulder horizontally. Cooperating with the vertical scar that Xuan Che left on his left half of his body in his last battle, it directly forms a cross. Sun.